Love more than anything else, for some reason, some way, some shape, some form, the universe decides to curse me for no reason other than it hates me. Why do I say this? Well, I don't know why, but for some reason, my mic's not working. So I'm using the mic that is attached to my headset and seeing if that works. I love this. I love every single little bit of this. Every single time something happens. Usually, it's my headphones that die and never work. And not my headphones. It is my headphones that usually have issues, but for some reason, I don't know why, it doesn't want to capture my Blue Yeti. Why that is, again, I have no clue. Everything is weird. So let's see what happens. Hello to everyone who is here. Intestine Inspector, how's it going? Antonio, how's it going? Good to see you as well. So let's see if that changes. I'll probably be going into the mic locations and all that, seeing where things go towards the end of this little bit of housekeeping, I guess. So welcome to another Godzilla Flash Fiction stream, or Kaiju Flash Fiction, stories inspired by Godzilla and the Greats. This is an initiative that I'm trying to do in order for people to get their stories written, done, and critiqued in a way that is useful for upcoming writers. I have a few people in the back right now, but before we get them all situated, we might as well start out with the usual, the beloved. It is the art submissions. Now, if you are someone who is not a part of the Discord already, which in that case, I will send you an invite now, because that is where we do all of the flash fiction, as well as where anyone who is interested in submitting stuff for the streams, that's where all of that goes. So there we are. I'll put that right in the chat for everyone. And then let's get started then. I'll do something classic for the music. So, the first bit of submitted art this time is coming from someone who's actually going to be on stream today. It is the Minecraft World with his Titanus Behemoth artwork. Now, the Behemoth design is correlating with his story that he's doing for Godzilla The Arrival, so that's why Behemoth is missing a tusk. I will say I prefer the lighter tones here for Behemoth. I think it just makes the design pop a little bit more, especially with the skin, because I think his skin tone and his fur tone in King of the Monsters is a little bit too close to one another, in my personal opinion. So I like the distinction here, but it also may come down to Minecraft's art style as well. Now, coming up next, from Antonio himself, or Hoshi as he's also known as, it is his Mina Asho Kaiju form, which is pretty nice here. I'm not the biggest fan, and people know me, I'm not a big lover of Kaiju number 8, all things considered, but some of the designs and art that comes out of it is pretty cool. And in this case, Hoshi, I do like the primary colors, which are the red, offset by this kind of pinkish red right here, blacks and grays, along with this green here. It's a pretty good color scheme. So overall, good work, my friend. Now, another piece by Minecraft World is the Battle of the Catfish Monsters. So in this case, it is his monster Gilyu versus my monster, which is RB818. So the human mutant monster versus the natural mystical monster. And how do you disrespect my boy like that? Of course, my monster is super strong, so I'm fine with him getting beat on. And then coming from Intestine Inspector with another Zogra art piece. Now, it's battle damage Zogra, so you get to see some damage there on the shielding. Also a little bit broken on the crest. Not to mention, one of his little spines here in the back is also gone. But what I will say is I like the gradients that you use for the greens here on the spines. I might actually include this in future Zogra art because I really like what's done here. This is really nice. Plus, you just make him even bulkier, which you can't go wrong with making Zogra bulkier. And I also kind of like what you did here with giving him a few more like bony jaw bits and horns and the like. So awesome job as always, Intestine. and now Biosaurus, which actually, you know what? I'm not going to show it because it is part of a flash fiction. So you're only getting a sneak preview for what Biosaurus looks like, and I think we could talk about that when we actually get to the flash fiction because I feel like that's appropriate. And a little bit of Phallus as well, which I don't want to show either because I know that's flash fiction related too. But I will show it in this case here, Nico's work. This is his Mothra and his Batra pieces, which I've always said this. I like Nico's art style. It does a pretty amazing job in terms of transitioning the monsters from their actual designs into his more cartoony art style. And the use of shadows is really good. Colors really pop. Like, hey, this could be like, this is, as always, good job, Nico. This could be pretty like close to official, or at least I could see someone doing this as like an official print for some Godzilla material. And for Vic, he's got two pieces here, which he didn't attach the names for. I know that's also something Kuru related for his flash fiction. Not as important as his monster though, but we'll get to that. But in Vic's case, there's this monster, which is like almost Godzilla-esque, but with more crocodile looking head. And then a more eel plesiosaur like design, but with an extra set of arms. And I will have to say between the two, which I'll move over here, I like his colors more than this one's. I think composition wise, this one has a more dynamic pose. Although, being the basic guy that I am, I do like this design more than I like this one. It's like, this is perfect, but I like this. So, good job as always, Beck. I also like what you did here with the tail, in terms of not just giving it pure spines all the way down to it. But overall, good job as always, my man. And once again, Discord links are going to be there in the chat, but they're also in the descriptions as always. If anyone wants to join and always submit their art for these streams, you're always welcome to. But let's just start introducing the people then, shall we? Now, first off, you know him, you like him, he's blocky. He is the whole wide world. He is the Minecraft world.
Hi!
Coming up next, well, he's of the brown variety, let's just say that. And he's kind of freaky with horses. Welcome, Kuru.
Testing 1, 2. How bad do I sound?
There's a little bit of sound going on in the background, but not too bad.
Oh, I'm at work.
Oh.
I am currently on the clock as I'm doing this.
Yeah,
so,
I respect that.
Because I wasn't gonna miss this.
Nah, that's fair. And then coming up last, we're still waiting on one other person, but it'll probably be coming in later anyways. It is the Lao.
Yeah.
Hi.
Thank you, my favorite portion.
Oh, here he is to completely upstage us all again.
And I even got a little hat to do it with style this time.
Styling on the hose with hats.
Good lord.
All right.
Oh, that's better now. I think actually it's using my Yeti now instead. So that's.
Who's ready to watch me get 05 in real time again?
Yeah.
You're probably not gonna get that 05.
Yeah, probably. Before we do though, can we acknowledge the Gigabash DLC?
The Gigabash DLC. When they
Jim, aren't you
stole my
excited?
monster's name.
Jim,
Stole
aren't you
my
excited?
monster's name. They stole his abilities. As per
Jim, aren't you
usual,
excited you got
Passion
Zogura into
Republicans.
Gigabash? I didn't know you could do that. Congratulations on getting Zogura into Gigabash.
Suck my balls, Kuru. Like a giant horsey nutsack. Suck it long,
Thing is,
suck it
he's
hard.
genuinely fun to play as. Like,
I've
he's
played a little bit of them, yeah.
Have you played the story mode yet?
I haven't done the story mode yet because I just downloaded it before the stream started.
Gigabash story mode? I mean,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot that. I forgot it had it.
That's how you
Yeah,
unlock
I haven't-
Pablo and Zyva.
Yeah, well,
I
the thing is,
haven't,
like with the DLCs, they don't have you unlock them via story mode anymore because
no.
since the big point of the DLCs is the characters, that's kind of why they're
Yeah,
like,
no,
you
but,
gotta
like,
do that.
But like the story mode for this one was really good.
I haven't bought it yet because I'm kind of waiting until I get paid again next week and also my next billing cycle.
Yeah, fair enough. But besides that, how was everyone's like experience in terms of writing their flash fictions.
Surprisingly chill.
Okay, that's good.
Writer's block is a bitch.
That's fair.
I was kind of stumped on this until like the last week,
Yeah.
Okay.
and it was a real trial trying to find the time. You now work a full time job.
Yeah, time is always the biggest thing we have against.
Yeah,
when it comes to being
I
a writer.
managed to get it done, I believe, a month in advance. It's like I was jumping back and forth between this and Light in the Black Lake, which I'm probably going to be writing some more of Light in the Black Lake while the stream goes. So yeah.
Okay, gotcha. But and Lau, in your case, how was the whole experience for you? And was it like better, worse, or about the same?
I'm not saying this to like seem like I have an ego, but this time it was like super easy when it came to like actually writing something short, like specifically for that. Like, you know, last time, how do I explain this? For the previous story, for Make a Solo, Kur, can you mute yourself a little bit because I can hear a lot of the back? Thank you.
I got it.
So,
yeah.
For Make a Solo, I basically rewrote the entire third act, and it was like 7 pages on its own. So that's what I wanted to do, right? So I had to compact everything into like the 1,500 words. But this time, because I had already done it the first time, now I knew how to make like a smaller story. And at first, it reached 600. And then after rewriting, I ended up doing like 6 versions. By the end, I was like, you know, I'm going to write like an entire fucking paragraph, and then I'm going to rewrite the shit out of it, and it's going to go down to 480, and then I'm going to write more. I'm going to extend stuff, and then I'm going to rewrite it, and then I'm going to reduce it to 400 and 4,000, 1,400, and then it got easy, like measuring the story this time. Also, like the way in which I made things was like I was waiting, like okay, I have to think of an idea, and then I just like started thinking of the kaiju, and I just came up with something like immediately, and I was like, that doesn't sound good enough, right? And then I added like 3 words to the concept of the kaiju, and I was like, that works fine. Now I can do something with this. But I guess that part I'll explain later on when like we see the images and all of that. But yeah, the more you write short stuff, I feel like you start getting used to it. Like the first time, I think is the worst one, because you really want to tell like a whole story in a very short time and you don't know how. But if you struggle the first time, the second time, I think it gets easier. So in that regard, it was super easy. And rewriting also got to the point where I was always like on the line of the 500 words. No, 500, 1,500 words, just going up and down, up and down, up and down constantly, like all the time. And when you start controlling the amount of words, it almost feels like you're like a fucking water vendor from Avatar, like everything just like flowing, and you're like, woo, up and down, up and down. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's kind of my experience as well. Granted, also because I'm writing a chapter or part-based book, it sort of helps to envision it as sort of like a chapter segment rather than an actual thing, because chapters in their own right are small stories in a greater whole. And I'll get further into that later, but yeah, no, that's kind of the experience I had. I found it to be a hell of a lot easier. Helps that I was being a lot more stimulated nowadays. So, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Like I would say, because what I ended up doing for mine primarily was I took an older story that I had done once, and it had been some time since I touched it, and I wanted to revamp it, and I ended up actually getting a story I think sounded better when I read it out loud, but also kind of it like brought down the word count a lot because I think it went from exactly hitting the 1500 to I think about just above 1400. I think it was like only
Yeah.
for like certain words I wanted to have more oomph, so then I just added them because I could. But I think originally it was at like 13, like essentially 1320 something.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, now that you're mentioning it, yeah, like this writing style you're trying to do will up your word count more or less. Because at first I was trying to go for like a Lovecraft type, like inspired writing style, not narratively. I mean, like when you hear the character like narrate, right? He
Mhm.
uses like this type of vocabulary that now I cannot even replicate it because I had to like stop it at one point, and I was like, maybe I can write something that's halfway there, but not too like formal, not too like ooh la la, Mr. French. Like I don't know what's the word, flowery, I guess. Because yeah, then I really just exceeded the limit, so I had to backtrack that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I would say even if we're talking about like Lovecraft's prose, they work really well in a short story, but I also think that you just generally have to get used to writing in that style in order to replicate it as best as possible because there's always like I think sometimes people try to be a little too purple with the prose when it comes to stuff like that and it ends up being weird.
Yeah. Yeah. My challenge was that the time period of my story is not like Lovecraft stories, so I couldn't go too flowery, right? But I
Mhm.
needed to make it sound like someone who was a socially isolated person, like Lovecraft. So it has the feeling, but it's not exactly the same thing. So that actually helped a little. That it wasn't like in the old times, because then I do have to do more research and all of that. But yeah.
Mhm. But
I,
it's
I don't
also
know if
like
you
generally
guys
too like
will.
another thing when it comes to research is that like you can get someone speaking like Lovecraft in a more contemporary setting, but it's going to depend more on character rather than it being a more general cultural thing.
Yeah.
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 Also, real quick, Intestine Inspector's comment. I'm planning on drawing everyone's original kaiju. Currently, Nias, Zaiden, Apo, Pocho, and Tyrannos are on the list. After that, not sure who's left. I know ZG has one. If you want to talk to
Mhm.
him about his
Yeah.
story, and if you want, I could also send you references for Gilyu.
I guess you're going to see mine this stream, or you could take. If you want to, like, again, you don't have to,
Mhm.
but if you want to, you can also do like the mecha solo Cobra I made.
Yeah.
Like I do have like
Just
some
just
images
want
of
to
that.
just want to put that out there because if you just want to do one per person, ZG has one. I know he shared that a while ago, and I know Curse of Raw Potato also has his story. I don't know if Rooney has an original kaiju.
No, not really.
Okay.
I was also gonna say real quick in your case, Lau, do you have art for your character
Oh,
today or no?
yeah, I forgot. I sent you the Kuru stuff, and then I forgot to send mine. Just wait a
Yeah, just
moment.
DM it to me.
Where is it? Yeah.
And I guess the best way to start out this stream in terms of getting our stories prepared is playing something that Intestine Inspector made for us. And since we are past the 10-minute mark, I can play it. So
Where's the audio?
why did the audio not play? No, I even tagged the audio. I hate that. Bro, why? Por qué es? No más. I blame Kuru.
Hey!
I blame Kuru for this.
Hey! Don't do that.
I also
have
do
to.
that. I also
Exactly.
blame him.
Don't do. He's muted right now. He can't even respond.
Exactly. He's being
And
like
that's his.
ragey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's just natural selection at that point.
Bruh.
Why
I
you
might have-
bullying me? Why you
Why
bullying me?
why are you bullying me, Aegis?
Why you bullying me? Why would you do this to me? I'm calling you out on Twitter.
Bro, I'm gonna cancel you.
Bro, what can I get canceled for? I don't post anything.
Too bad. You're brown.
Wait,
Oh.
whoa. Can you show that again? Did intestine inspector draw that one?
He drew over it, yeah. Well, I'm just gonna have to be like super ghetto and ratchet about it because I'm just gonna do a shared stream and then bring it up to the front. So streamception for like a hot second. There we go. So
Ah, it looks nice.
So I guess does is it still bad on mine? Is all the background noise still like very audible?
oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Do you
There's
have-
nothing
don't
I
worry
can
about
do.
it
Do you
because
have echo
honestly,
cancellation off?
No, there's nothing I can do. Genuinely.
I was about to say there's like
what I
no
was
way
going
he
to
could
say is
do
that
that.
it's really not a problem because when you're talking, I can hear you fine. The problem is when you're not saying anything, we just hear the background noise. So all you have to do is like mute yourself when you're not speaking, and when you're speaking, there's not really any problems.
Okay, I guess just like keep me muted whenever like you're kind of gonna have to stay on top of whether I'm muted or not because
Yeah, I'll just mute
Yeah,
you
yeah,
I'm
if
also
I feel like
working.
it's too bad.
I'm also just straight up gonna be away from arm's reach of my phone.
Fair enough. I was
So,
just gonna say because Marin keeps asking, did you get a chance to catch the trailer for the next sci-fi dinosaur thriller, The End of Oak Street?
Ooh, I want to watch it. I didn't.
Okay, here's my
I
thing.
saw the trailer
Here's-
everywhere.
I've got mixed feelings because on one hand, it's an interesting concept, but it hasn't sold me as a dinosaur movie yet. Like that's my thing. I don't like you. Where is the dinosaurs in your dinosaur movie?
In like some ways, I'm actually kind of interested to see where it goes because of that. But in other ways, I'm like, oh, maybe it's like another 65.
Yeah.
So we'll wait to see. But Ewan
I'm
McGregor,
gonna. I mean, either way, we have this and we have the Primitive War sequel. So either way, we're getting some sort of competitor to Jurassic, which step in the right direction? Question mark.
exactly.
I've thought a bit about the whole Jurassic problem thing, and at this point, I'm just like, I just wonder how much of this is us making it a problem.
Making what a problem?
want to see more like dinosaur films that aren't just Jurassic stuff, and I think that.
Oh
like,
yeah,
seems
no,
like this is
yeah,
in a good
that is a
direction.
problem. Yeah, that's
No,
a
I
completely
do-
valid
I
problem.
kind of
Imagine
agree.
an entire generation growing with only Jurassic Park. It's like growing only with McDonald's, and that's all you eat. Like that's
Yeah, but
just
I mean,
poison
like-
for the mind.
In this case, McDonald's is all you eat, so there's no Burger King in this case. So I'd say good because Burger King is bad.
Hey,
Listen.
you also lose Chick-fil-A, dude.
Unfortunately, yeah. So.
I work there. Why are you taking away my job?
Oh no, we ain't trying to take away Chick-fil-A. I would definitely. Keep
We're
Chick-fil-A.
only trying to get you fired. Hey, did you hear us saying that? You in the background, manager. Hey, you suck. I'm joking.
Just full on, just start hurling slurs.
Dude, no, listen. Knowing how my boss is, he'll probably just fire back.
You know what? Like,
No, what's it
I
called?
would
You
say
just
some
hears all
slurs
of
if
us.
you were at either a KFC or a White Castles.
Oh no, we're Popeyes.
Oh,
Or no, like your boss here is just and he just goes, "No, that's it. You're getting called a slur." But
She
unfortunately,
sees my picture and just calls me a bitch, and I start crying.
I'm dead.
I'm
But
dead.
in this case, I think, unfortunately, because Inspector's thing didn't work, I might have to convert the thing again because it was a movie file, then I had to convert it to an MP4.
Wait, so it's
I might
a-
have to do it again.
Oh. Ow.
We'll see
my
what
ears.
happens. But in this case, let's actually get started with the flash fictions then. I was gonna do them at random. I'll probably save Vix for later only because he isn't here just yet. So I want to give him time.
So is it just like me, Minecraft, WoW, and Vic that have submitted something?
Yeah, it's only 5 of us.
Wow.
And
also
I
you,
wanted
but-
to talk about that actually. By the way, do you think that maybe you should have posted another announcement video so people know that it's going to be like a recurrent thing?
Yeah, that's the thing is like I'm wondering because at least in terms of view count, the view count seems similar to what the like original stream has been, which I'm very thankful for that. So it feels like enough people kind of knew that this was coming. I think what we might need to do in the future is have more like recurrent posts, like just Instagram, DVR, etc., to be like, hey, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
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 Start
So
writing.
definitely like
Basically,
try
yeah.
to focus on, I guess, for lack of a better term, between all of our groups, like brand synergy.
Essentially, yeah.
I think with your plan for the One Monstrous Moment, that's going to help something, but yeah.
Mhm.
I still would have suggested at least putting out another short about like recapping the
Just like a short announcement on like all your different socials and stuff, just to like get its name out there.
I would even say, like since he's a writer, it may sound, something. It's easy to say, but then you don't want to like bother someone else. But I would say even ask for Omni Viewer to promote it too, since he has
I
like
would
written
even say that,
actual books.
You know what? Minecraft. We're both in Joey's server. Talk to Zach.
Oh yeah.
I'm in his server too. I can always talk to Zach myself.
Okay, right. You are in Joey's server as well.
Yeah.
Zach, Cody, Joey. How many people in there are writers?
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah. So my point.
And I mean, like,
yeah, it's also just it's like a matter of also like getting people to get something done, and then also just my general schedule and trying to make actually get days where as many people can show up as possible to do it. But
admittedly, the more people who do participate and want to be on stream, it is harder.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Because we have to stay until later, and you never want to be the last person because everyone left by then. There's a lot of people that come here and maybe they just want to have their story shown, but they don't actually necessarily care about listening to other people's stories. Which it's kind of like a shady thing, but it's going to happen if we have like a lot.
Yeah, or like what people are gonna want to get out of it. So it all depends.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a thing. Like that's something that happened with the Gamera stream too. So
yeah. 05. Oh, I didn't say anything. I didn't. I said nothing.
No, you're valid for saying that. He's gonna. Speaking of the devil, he's probably gonna show up at some point.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Yep. But we've dallied and dillied enough. I would say let's get into it. And who am I doing as my first victim? Because I could do myself, which just seemed a little conceited. Let's do Minecraft.
It will be nice maybe if you are always like the starter. I feel like since this is your stream, like last time you went in first, so people will kind of see from the main guy, what this is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those things where it's like I don't want it to be like an ego thing too. It's like, well, it's my stream.
No, but
I gotta be the first to do it.
No, but like, yeah, it's not an ego thing. It's like
it's more like leading by example. I think.
Yeah, it's leading by example.
Like that would be like it's literally those things. It's like that's what I think in my head too. I'm like, I feel like I should do it to lead by example, but then I always wanted to come off in like the wrong way too. So
yeah I go first and then the plebs.
Like,
no, it's not.
That's what you did with the first original Kaiju stream because none of us had any idea of what we were doing.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, no, let's go with that. We'll go first, and let me get my Kaiju arts up front so we can begin. So there we go. Awesome. And the title of the flash fiction is actually super simple. It is literally just the fire monster. So let us begin. The aroma flooded Marcus's nose. In any other context, burning wood probably meant there was a campfire floating on the wind. But the glow of a growing inferno along the slopes of Mount Killua made the situation clear. Without hesitation, Marcus was listening in on the Firewatch's radio. Other lookouts and rangers were responding back and forth. Calls for assistance and sit reps were rolling in like gunfire, and Marcus joined the cacophony. The wind hasn't pushed the fire too far past the ignition point, came in Harrison from the East Tower. 6 hikers signed into the North Station. They're all accounted for, chimed in David from the cabin, and we're all afoot, and where all the foot traffic went through. South Lodge had 20 sign-ins, 4 unaccounted for, came in Ian. Marcus's shoulders tensed and his mind began to work. Ian, what's the group's makeup? Marcus said curtly as he put on his jacket in preparation for search and rescue. Like clockwork, the duo began to volley questions and answers. College age, 2 females, 2 males, responded Ian. They carry anything to draw attention or contact a station? Flares? Radio? Negative, just lightweight packs and casual wear. Distinctive colors? One of the females had a bright yellow top. They take the main trail and is evac on standby. Word's probably out, so wings will be up in 4. And with that answer, Marcus ascended the tower and vaulted himself into his vehicle. Cruising down the dirt path, Marcus considered each variable. Smog hung in the sky, infecting the clear afternoon. The hikers had to have seen it, and he hoped they'd chosen safely instead of going in with curiosity. Now closer to the main trail, the car radio bleated to life. There's reports of another fire breaking out on the west side. Cameron's voice was frantic. Just like that, heavy radio chatter now twinged with panic. A single fire was an expected hazard, but another? Possible, yes, but the likelihood was astronomical, especially miles from the first. Marcus's stomach twisted as the thought of arsenic came into his mind. Marcus, any sign of them? Ian growled over Marcus's personal radio this time. No sign. I'm going to push up further. Firehawks are in the air and headed our way. David hasn't seen them either on the north side. I'll radio once I get visual. Before David could finish, a large form came barreling towards him. With a sharp wheel twist, the truck swerved, nearly missing a massive oak. Now stationary, he eyed it through the rear mirror. A red wave of something came by, and it towered over the truck. As it undulated through the soil, he remembered seeing gators do much the same in the water, and like a shark's fin, Marcus watched it quickly sink into the earth, leaving the trail a mess of uneven terrain and upturned foliage. For what seemed like forever, he was paralyzed with thoughts. What had he seen? Had he truly seen it? An earthquake, rubble, burning debris? No answer satisfied him, and he hadn't realized he'd zoned out until Ian was yelling at him through the mic to raise him. I'm here, Ian. I'm here. There's debris blocking the path now. I'll have to move up on foot. Marcus, there's lava. Killua is erupting. There's fires breaking out everywhere, Ian shouted. So closer to the mountain's base, Marcus saw more columns of smoke rising around the mountain. Killua was now a giant stick of dynamite, with each smoldering pillar like a fuse heralding impending catastrophe. Dude, leave the search to the helicopter teams. They'll cover more ground, Ian said, pleading in his voice. Before Marcus could protest, he jerked his head, hoping his ears hadn't lied to him. Straining with hope on his heart, he again tried to see if he could hear it. Just a wisp now, a shrill cry for help. And therefore, Marcus steeled himself. Ian, I hear someone. I'm going to go find them, and we'll head towards the station. Damn it, Marcus, don't be a hero. Ian was carrying on, but Marcus was on the move, vaulting over stones and weaving through the gnarled path. The screams became clearer, and as Marcus reached a clearing, he could see them now. A young man, barely in his 20s, bolting towards him with a fear-crazed look. Behind him lagged the 2 women who supported the second man in their arms. The man's left leg was raked with the black and red of third-degree burns. My truck's down the trail, Marcus called out as he ran to meet the women, switching places with one of them and waving for them to continue down the trail. Ian, I found the hikers. One is injured. We'll head towards you and link up at the ranger station in town. Marcus, the fires. They've spread past you. We're evacuating. You won't be able to make it through the... What's that? Ian's voice was rife with terror as the radio cut out. Frantically, Marcus tried to raise his friend to no avail. His mind was brought back to that thing in the ground. As they moved back towards the truck, the blazing heat was becoming overpowering. If the fire had encircled him, then Marcus knew their only hope was a passing helicopter or the fire tower itself. Loading the group in, Marcus slammed the pedal and threw caution to the wind. Splitting small trees and bumping along uneven rocks, the truck raced through the forest as the flames began to encircle what little the forest hadn't consumed. Breaking through some smoldering brush, they reached the tower's base. Marcus shepherded the group up the steps, feet frantically clanging on the metal as they climbed inside. Looking out from the tower's windows, the scope of their conundrum was laid bare. The mountain was alive as flames leapt and danced across its face, and the inferno was creeping closer till it now encircled them. Oh my God, we're gonna die. Jeez, we're gonna die, one of the women frantically wailed as she sunk to the floor in tears. The other girl knelt beside her to comfort her, while the 3 men observed the blazing inferno. We'll be fine in here, right? Asked the injured one through a wince of pain as his friend wrapped his leg. The meadow should be able to survive the flames, but it will get hot, Marcus said coolly. If there really was any lava, he knew they wouldn't stand a chance, but he wouldn't dare demoralize them. I'll see if I can raise them on the radio. Let's see if we can get a helicopter in the air or see anything from the sky. Immediately, Trying to find any frequency he could, Marcus let out a sigh of relief as the voice of a pilot sounded off. ETA in 4 minutes, hang tight, echoed across the radio. Even if they didn't show it, Marcus sensed a glimmer of hope wash across all of them. In short order, the guiding lights of a helicopter pair came into view. The aircraft banked in order to keep the searchlights poised on the survivors. And as they moved closer to the railing, a droning wail rattled the tower. Marcus looked to identify where the noise had originated from, while a second helicopter scanned the surrounding tree line. Ushering the group to grab the line as the helicopter pulled them up, Marcus scanned. Seeing through the crackling flames, he swore there was something there, something moving. Straining his eyes further to focus, through the flames he saw it, and his blood ran cold. The red wave was back, now lifted off the ground. Not a wave, a sail, whose longest spine cut at the base of a slender neck that now turned to look at him. Its whole form strode out of the flames, dark like charcoal, with a crown of horns adding to its demonic visage. A broad reptilian head with a massive spear-like horn at the base of its snout, and tusks framing its grinning jaws. Clearing the flaming tree line, it crawled forward on its 4 legs. As it stopped, Marcus watched it cock its head, with a gargantuan tail slithering behind it. The sight was wrong, familiar, but scientifically impossible, an amalgam of anachronisms which now sat poised to strike with a primal malice. The rest had seen it too, and Marcus felt his feet leave the tower as someone had grabbed and now pulled him into the helicopter. Everyone in its cabin watched the grim fairy tale, the mountainside engulfed in flames, and a dragon at its center, tearing down the lone castle. All the more apt as its maw opened, letting gouts of flaming bolts melt the tower, turning it into slag before letting out a roar of dominion. And that's the story.
Interesting.
I like that it feels like, yeah, it's happening in the same like universe as your previous one. Like it's supposed to be in the same one, right? Or is it just supposed to be like an
one? Yeah,
it feels like that.
Same universe as Kaiju
That's
Quarantine.
because you wrote it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I need to ask this. How much of this was inspired by War Machine?
Actually, I wrote this before War Machine.
That makes sense.
Like, I think I had only gotten half of it done. Actually, no, I got pretty much the entire thing done, but it wasn't until, until recently that I wanted to check through it again and give it another read.
Yeah, because a lot of it did remind me of War Machine, and I say that in a good way. Specifically, the like urgency of everything going on. I really like the the pacing of everything and just how everything feels frantic and large scale, and then you have this creature that comes out of the underbrush that in a way it doesn't physically dwarf the fire, but it feels like it does.
Yeah, the main thing I wanted it to do with this was have a ticking time clock, but also make it seem like there's something else going on, when in reality, it's going to be a monster at the center of the story. And I think that having strong characterization through the story was what was most important. And I wanted to emphasize Marcus's like heroism and just him doing his job. And I think that someone who is part of Firewatch being put in a situation like that has a whole lot of agency and can interact in a way where it feels like he's able to push the plot forward rather than just being like an observer.
Yeah.
As well as
one thing I wanted. Just like visually, I don't know. I mean, I guess because it's a little bit similar, it reminds me of the creature from the 20,000 Fathoms. So when you have like the tower, right, and it's actually like breathing fire, I kind of imagine how that shot from that movie looks when it's in the lighthouse. But instead
that
of
was
being...
so. Yes, the monster is inspired by the beast from 20,000 Fathoms. So you are definitely right there.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that.
I didn't get a good look at it when you were showing it, just because
I'll show it off again as well.
Because okay, to me, I kind of see the beast impressions now, but to me, it makes me think more of the dragon from Seventh Voyage of Sinbad.
That was the other influence.
That's the other thing I wanted to say. Yeah,
That sounds
yeah.
about right.
Which is like, I still think after everything, Seven Voyage of Sinbad is still probably my favorite movie Ray Harryhausen did effects for.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that's also out of his Sinbad movies the one that has the most monsters in it.
I just think if you
Yeah.
want, well, I'll save my thoughts on that film for the Harryhausen film straight.
Yeah, once I do that. But yeah, no, I think that helps actually a lot because you have this general draconian design in a modern day setting that helps give the creature the visual and aesthetic contrast, as well as just like it's as well as it makes it more understandable as to why this thing would be breathing fire.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, like one thing that it, and because this was written written before I came up with the concept, one thing, and it would have to really be introduced in like a full like short story or a full on novella like Quarantine. It's that like the moment anyone goes back to town and like talks about this, they're just gonna be so in shock and they'll be like rationalize anything they thought they saw as never like happening the way they saw it. So whenever these people like say like what they saw, they'll be like, oh, like lava just came down the mountain and engulfed the tower when we left. Instead of being like, I literally saw a giant monster. Because it's a thing where in like the Quarantine universe, it's more affected by like people in the modern day are more affected by it, where because there's like such a huge rationalism to everyday people's actions and like people think they understand science as well as they do, it causes there to be a weird feedback loop essentially in the brain where it's seeing something that can't and shouldn't happen and shouldn't be there, and it is able to essentially override all the senses of the brain and replaces it essentially with like false memories, false events, things of that happening, even with like video cameras and stuff. It can have an effect on those depending on certain monsters and actually being able to affect technology, where in other cases, even if someone says like, hey, here's a video of a giant monster, they'll be like, yep, that's pretty good AI, or that's really good effects and things like that. And that's like commentary that's more in Quarantine rather than like any of the short stories I've been working on so far.
Yeah.
But I know I did mute Kuru and I know Lao's muted. I'm not sure if anyone has anything else they want to add before we get to the next story.
Yeah, no, I don't mind it. I mean, it's a story that you wrote a while ago.
Real good. Sorry.
It's a story that you wrote years ago, but you're updating it, so yeah.
I think this one was really solid. I don't really have much else to say. I feel like I really like the sense of like urgency, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like the main thing, the key word I had on my mind for this story was urgency. So if that's what you're thinking, then I think that I had a pretty good job. And I think if I was ever doing another pass at this story, I could probably make it even better.
One thing I noticed is that when the guy has like the accident at first, it's very undetailed. It's not like for the first time someone. Okay, can you mute Kuro
Yeah, I
just
got
a
him.
little bit? Thank you. So for the first encounter of a Kaiju, normally people try to overwrite it really hard. Like, oh, and then this thing, they try almost to describe it as if it was like the shot from a movie instead of like a book. And I like that you didn't do that because it helps with the idea of, like you not really understanding what you've seen. How an alligator moves on the waves and all of that. So he knows the movement that he saw, but he doesn't relate it to something. So I think that that's well done.
Yeah, like I think like how you said, like people will overwrite it as if they're doing it like a movie. And I think that in a way, you need to write it like you know when your money shot actually occurs instead of trying to be like, and they saw the spines of the T-Rex dinosaur monster that I made, and it looks like this, and that. I really wanted to be like, there's something that he sees. He doesn't know exactly what he's seeing because he's only seeing part of it. And even if he's seeing part of it, he's not going to necessarily be like, yeah, that's definitely like a giant fin that I'm looking at. And in the context too, the first, like, he's not even thinking, oh, I may be looking for like fins out in the woods. I'm going to be like, there's something red coming at me. There's fire everywhere. Could it just be like a tree that's like coming by, but then it's moving? It's like, what's that? And then
Yeah.
rationalizing, I think, works as well in this case, or I want it to work well, because it is something someone's going to do, especially when they come across something they don't understand. But the situation also doesn't allow them to really fully wrap their minds around it and come up with a like specific explanation right there on the spot. And I think that the final reveal at the end was the like movie money shot. And I think that is when you can finally be like, now you get to see the monster in full, and you get like a small little action scene. It gives that scene time to breathe, but then also for the reader to take it in.
Yeah, that's again something that a lot of people don't think of. Like I've seen Minecraft. I think I told you this for your first story, for example, like last stream, that you should try to divide the description for the quadruped kaiju a little bit more, so it goes more with the narration of the actions, because like we all have like the thing in our heads. And I think that the difference between like writers that are trying to tell a story and writers that are just trying to
Yeah.
write for themselves instead for other people is that they just have like no self-control. So you have to try and understand when the time is right to actually go into details. And even when you do it, you have to know how to do it in an organic way, right? Like how to divide the information through the paragraph instead of having it be like the paragraph of the description. That's like just like
that
a
is
blog.
an issue that I had with this second one, and we'll get with my second one, and we'll get to that. Granted, I shortened the description a lot, but I also tried to make it appear more natural in its like in how the description shows.
I think like one thing that like also kind of inspired me about how I went about my descriptions too was going back and reading the original King Kong book. And if you look at how they describe the dinosaurs, they don't give like the best description. And in a lot of ways, they don't necessarily like conjure the image of the dinosaurs you see in the film. And I think that oftentimes with a lot of writers with kaiju stuff, specifically because they're artists turning into writers, they really want to hammer home that the description that they're giving matches that the art that they've created. And I think that that doesn't work too well. You need to separate the art from the prose.
And to be fair, it's even worse when your kaiju is just like a Godzilla ripoff. That's just even worse, because it's like you could have said that it looked like a Tyrannosaur, for example, right? But they want to detail like the differences, and it's like it's still kind of sounds like it's Godzilla, right? So you need to in drawing, that's a funny thing that you said. These are artists turning into writers. I think that there's a lot of people that draw, but they're not artists, so they don't understand that there's this thing called expression. It's basically like when you see a design, right? It's like what does it convey, right? For example, Godzilla Evolved doesn't convey at all the same stuff as, for example, 2014. One is more like agility, strength, and the other one, like 2014, I will describe it more like slumbering, powerful, right? Like
or
they're
even
both
like
the same
real,
character.
or like a Godzilla, but like realistic. Like yeah,
exactly. And so you don't have to describe, for example, if your dinosaur was like one of those retrosaurs, you don't have to say it's standing up straight. Just with you describing, for example, the tail drags heavily behind him, you already know that thing is a retrosaur, right? You don't need to describe the posture. I think that the most important thing for those dinosaurs is that the tail is dragging behind them. So you need to just find the one thing that kind of gives you like the idea of the character, the same way that when you're drawing, you decide for a couple of shapes that convey what you want to see. For example, and this is the most exaggerated fucking example I can give, but it really shows. What was his name? Kingpin from Into the Spider-Verse. He's literally a fucking square.
He is a
He's
block.
a square. He's a block. Exactly.
As Trump would say, he's a big manly man. He's a big guy.
He's honestly more Minecraft than Minecraft. And that's all you fucking need to know. Like, the character is right there. He's a black square. So not only he's a square, he's also a minority.
Bro is built like a 1x1 Lego piece.
Yeah, exactly.
Queso
so that's
wishes.
it.
No, he's
You
built
have
like
the essence.
no, he's built like a
of the
black
character.
1x2 Lego piece with a flat. What is it? Like the flat Lego piece with the one stud and the big shit. I did
I'm
joke
dead.
fail. Joke failed.
Yeah.
One thing, like,
So
since you're talking
yeah,
about
you need to find the
presentation-
essence
Yeah.
and just describe that specific thing.
Well, that was the thing too, is like, even with a description of like the neck, I don't even like try to say like, oh, there's like another fin right here. I went, the main thing he's gonna notice if it's coming out is the big fin, the horns, the big horn, and tusks. It's quadrupedal, its main color is gray, it's got a really long tail, and what's that big like tail doing? It's slithering.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, I don't mention like,
and not
oh,
only
he's got,
that,
like,
also you kind of described it in a way where he barely sees it at first, so you know it's close to the ground.
mhm.
It doesn't have like long legs, like, oh shit, long legs.
Yeah,
What
like
fucking
I even say
disappointment of a
it's
movie.
like, oh yeah, like it's like very much. I wanted it to feel very like it's low to the ground, and that's why I say crawl, like it's crawling. Even though the thing's like really huge compared to him, even then, it's like from their position, it's still gonna be like a big animal. It's a big, massive guy. He's a big guy. He's a big boy.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I would propose for future streams, and this is just an idea in case you guys want to try it, so we like show people watching how to try and do it, even if we like fuck it up. Should we maybe show the kaiju designs at the end?
That might be
like maybe for
something, yeah.
example, yeah, like we all send our stuff to Sim, right? But we don't send it in stream submission, so none of us see anything. And that should be part of it, because even if we're trying to tell people watching that, hey, you shouldn't obsess over it, let's be fucking like honest. People who are going to write will still be very autistic in their first couple stories. Like, that's just normal. You don't know how to, like mediate yourself. I think is the word. Maybe like how do I put it? Like, measure yourself. You
Moderate
will
yourself.
moderate yourself. Yeah, that's it. You will think maybe, okay, yeah, no, I actually had like a very short description of the monster, but then maybe that description is actually not good enough, right?
Mhm.
It takes a lot of practice to know when it's enough, when it's too much, and when it's too little. So if we try to do that, I feel like people will have like a better way of understanding how to do it and like learn. But I mean, they also have to write themselves, right? It's not like you can just watch us do this and suddenly our knowledge goes to you by osmosis, even if we're explaining anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
It still will be more useful, I feel, if people see the thing after the story.
Mhm.
And we get to also talk about it, right? Because again, even if I hadn't seen the design, I saw the design in the story. So that's why I was like, oh, that's like the first thing I noticed, like the first description, and then the second one. And also I knew that it was low to the ground because the tail kind of hits his track, or I don't know what you call that one in specific. I think it's like his vehicle, And so I imagine that it couldn't be like that tall in relation to it if he didn't get like that good of a look. So I kind of guess the size, I feel, correctly. By all of those little things, and some of those, when you're writing them, they're like you're not actively thinking about it, but it still then goes to show that like with practice you start doing it on automatic, and sometimes you make mistakes because you were on automatic. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think like that's a good idea, and I'm curious if Minecraft, in your case, because I was going to have you go next, if maybe we could do that for
Yeah.
yours and see what kind of vibe we get.
Sounds good.
All right, perfect. And in this case, since we're not going to show any visuals, the story is Ocean Lights. And real quick, Minecraft, could you say how you do the locations? Because I have not read nautical locations in like years.
I have no idea either. One
Damn
sec.
you.
Let me. How to read.
You should ask 2005 because he wanted to be a marine biologist.
Fuck you.
You should do it.
One sec. How to. Yeah. So I think. I'll figure it out. Let me just pull it up. Actually, if you want me to, I could read it.
If you want to read it, I'm more than welcome to have you read it.
I'd be down. Ocean Lights, a kaiju flash fiction. Date, March 16th, 2025. Location, 21 degrees, 42, 47.99 north, negative 45 degrees, 55, 5.99 west. Philippine Sea. Time, 1844. Dive, 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 begin dive. 4 hours had passed since those fateful words had been spoken. The I-5 submersible had been unloaded into the cold, eerie waters of the Philippine Sea, dragged there by the research crew of the SS Sand Tiger, sent on a mission to the wreck of the SS Samuel B. Roberts, a small warship from World War II and the deepest shipwreck known to man. 3 men were held inside the submersible as its crew, slipping deeper and deeper into the abyss. In the control room of the Sand Tiger, Dr. James Fagee sat in his swiveling chair, watching the screen of his computer monitor like a man under trance. The only movements he made were the rise and fall of his chest as he breathed, and his thumbs orbiting around each other in his clasped hands. The camera mounted to the sub shone in a monochrome light, though it still conveyed just how dark it was. Too dark, with the occasional flicker of light and particles drifting by, often enough not to startle, but still enough to keep the deep sea's eerie reputation. James himself wasn't much to write home about in the looks department. At 36 years old and standing at 6 foot, he was a modest, albeit gruff fellow, wearing a set of light gray shorts and a dark green TMNT shirt, with short black hair and the remnants of a shaved beard. Decent workout regimen, an adorable tuxedo cat at home, and not much else, really. He found his life out here on the ocean, something he had admired since his youth. And right now, he was spiritually home. The only thing he was really missing was his cat. He was jostled out of his trance by the sound of the door opening behind him. Turning around, he saw his colleague, Dr. David Harvey, walking in with two steaming mugs and a copy of Moby Dick in his arms. David was a bit of a rotund man, not obese or overweight, but he was definitely on the chunkier side. He had a chipper personality, like that of an elder golden retriever. Large body, equally large heart. "Morning, James," David said, his southern accent livelier than usual. "Got you your hot chocolate." He set the steaming mug of hot cocoa on James's desk. James took a quick taste test, savoring the way the liquid chocolate slid over his taste buds and down his throat. That is one hell of a hot chocolate," he said, his gruff demeanor dropping slightly. David slid into the chair next to him, bookmarking the book and turning his attention to the monitor. "You never really explained why you normally don't drink coffee," he said. "Don't like the taste," James responded quickly. "Gotcha." James leaned over to the microphone, pressing a button attached to it. "Talk to me, Goose," James said, his voice blunt and matter-of-fact. A few seconds later, a response came through. "Dr. Fagee, we are 100 meters from target. We should be in visual range in 3, 2, 1. The port side of the USS Samuel B. Roberts slowly faded into view, the light of the submersible illuminating it like a ghost. The ship was small for its class, but nonetheless a sight to behold. Her guns, despite their rusted state, were still loaded, ready to fire any second at whatever was unlucky enough to cross its path. The rust and sand of the sea floor cradled her, locking her corpse in a beautiful and frightening coffin buried in the deep ocean. Jesus, David said, sipping his coffee. She looks incredible. This was the third dive that James and David had supervised to the wreck of the Sammy B, and every time this moment happened, the moment she would materialize in the darkness, it always sent awe into them and the rest of the crew. Speaking of, the rest of the researchers came into the control room and crowded around the monitor, their eyes glued to the screen. The ship, she looked utterly magnificent. However, this time, something was off. An entire chunk of the Samuel B. Roberts was missing. No, not missing. Completely crushed. Are you guys seeing this? Someone in the submersible asked. James grabbed the microphone. Yeah. Two other researchers began to comb through photos and sonar images taken of the Sammy B on prior expeditions, scrambling to figure out this error. Was this a trick of the mind, or was this real? James himself started growing worried. He'd been studying the Sammy B since the wreck's discovery back in 2022. The wreck itself was relatively intact, albeit practically sliced in half due to the impact on the sea floor. Yes, the back was battered, but not this. It's as if something put her stun through a shredder and then ground it to a pulp several times over. The tension was palpable as could be, as everyone, both the crew inside the submarine as well as everyone else on the ship, watched speechless and dumbfounded. Suddenly, James was taken out of his stupor by a splashing sound to his right. He looked out of the porthole window, and there he saw a figure, what seemed to be a woman apparently standing in the middle of the ocean. Upon closer inspection, however, the figure appeared less and less human. She was shoulder deep in the water, clearly not treading, at least not in the usual manner. Instead, she appeared to just stand there, as if on a platform beneath the water. Her hair was long and damp, with a brownish-green color akin to seaweed. Her eyes glistened a greenish-yellow, not unlike that of a black cat, and her skin was sickly pale. However, the most striking feature was what appeared to be feathers running along her back and shoulders, and on the back of her neck. They didn't seem like clothing either, since James could barely make out a collarbone which they connected to. Whatever she was, she seemed to be watching them, her expression worried. After a few seconds of silence, one of the submersible's crew spoke up. "Hey, what's that?" the man spoke. James immediately turned his attention back to the monitor, and the woman, or whatever she was, dove back into the water. The submersible turned to wherever the man was looking, and soon the researchers on the bridge could see what appeared to be bright flashing lights, all of which appeared to move closer to the submarine. After a bit, a rectangular shape began to form, one very familiar to everyone both on the Sand Tiger and the I-5. Is that a sperm whale? One of the researchers asked. That's not possible, another replied. They don't dive this deep. At all. As the creature faded into view, James studied his appearance, quickly realizing that it wasn't any ordinary sperm whale. For one, it was big, much bigger than any sperm whale he'd ever recorded. For two, it was white, with what appeared to be bioluminescent stripes along its top. And for three, its fins looked more like that of a leopard seal rather than that of an actual sperm whale. As well as that, its eyes were much bigger than that of a sperm whale's, glowing bright, much like its fins and the bioluminescent stripes on its back. Pardon me. The creature seemed to study the submersible and the people inside of it, letting out a low rumble that sounded both like a click and a growl. Everyone stood on edge as the submersible tried its best to find some way to escape, but the whale, or whatever it was, had pinned the vehicle alongside those inside it, between it and the shipwreck. And it studied the vehicle with seeming curiosity and anger. Suddenly, in a flash, the whale lunged forward and the monitor turned to static. The researchers on the bridge scrambled in panic as James lunged forward in his chair, shouting into the mic, I-5! I-5! Do you copy? Static. I-5! Please respond! We can't see you! More static. The rest of the researchers scrambled, trying everything in their power to reestablish connection. Just as James was going to ask again, he heard another splash outside. He turned to the porthole, and there he saw the same woman. She was closer now, She was closer to the ship now, and looking right at him, seemingly saddened. Through the porthole, she mouthed 2 words. I'm sorry. Quickly, she dove off without a sound. As he watched her depart, James felt his stomach turn, a dreadful feeling growing in his gut, one that told him that it wouldn't be the last he would see of her or the creature she was apologizing for.
Overall, I would say that this, compared to your last one, definitely has more of like a traditional prose story kind of vibing cadence to it. So like I would say like in terms of if someone was just saying purely improvement, this is a huge
This
improvement.
is way better. Yeah. Actually, you might be on the neutral tone. I think you are like the best out of the 3 of us, because I know what I wrote, right? Even if you haven't heard it, but yeah, on the neutral, I think you're like the best. It just shit. Fuck. Nice.
Thank you, guys. One thing that actually did help me quite a lot, I was reading the Mothra novelization, and considering how short the novella is, like, it has to condense a lot of things down, and so that actually helped me quite a lot with structuring this.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it went so fast. And it wasn't just like short, like you gave a bunch of information, but it was never like tedious, which normally like it. I'm just going to be honest, like on the first stream we had, like it was tedious, like it's the normal thing that people who are just starting don't really know how to like flow things. And I don't know if you've also been reading more since. I mean, you just told us that you were reading the Mothra book, right?
Yeah,
but like it shows if you have been.
Yeah, and it also helps that I'm not just that I'm not dealing with 2, but rather just 1 kaiju.
I think the other thing too is that this story definitely lends itself more to prose compared to the first one, where it's a fight, and I think that in this case you are dealing with a character, their reactions to what's going on, and you get a little bit more internal monologue that's going on here. And I think also with the situation, it feels like, I was gonna say claustrophobic, but I don't think that's the right word. And small scale wouldn't be the right word either. But given the fact that you're like, you have research vessel, you have the submersible, it feels small. And I think it lends itself well to a smaller format, like a flash fiction or like a short story.
Would you be surprised if I told you that Iron Lung was a bit of an inspiration for this?
Contain wouldn't be the right word either.
I knew that from the beginning.
Yeah.
And what did you say, Minecraft? Because you got to cut out for me.
Would you be surprised if I told you that Iron Lung was an inspiration for this?
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you have told me before, but if you haven't, I
think he did in the server, but I may be wrong. I think you did.
I didn't
even
say,
then, like
I think I told Kuru, but I didn't tell you two.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but like, yeah, no, that film very heavily inspired me with what I was going for, and then reading Mothra helped me structure it a lot. Especially since Thalas's mannerism in this, I would say, is kind of similar to Mothra, like that lashing out in anger and how it's described.
Because what I was going to say, at least with Thalas, I would say, like, in terms of how you describe him, because I already knew what Thalas looks like, you do a pretty good job of describing him and making it make sense to the viewer in terms of like how this is definitely a kaiju and like what distinguishes him from a regular sperm whale. But I also think too, like, to your credit, I think there are some cases where you reuse some words where if you didn't, you could probably add it in a few other places and just make the story even better. Because I think you mentioned the bioluminescent strips, and I think that if I'm looking at it right, if you remove like that in one spot, then you'd have like 3 more words or 2 more words to use. Because did it hit? Actually, I can check it myself since I have it here on my side as well. Because your word count hit, so actually your word count's 1474. So you still had more room to play with. And if you just removed a few small things, then yeah, no, like it's
Yeah.
really good, and it's like it's so far the biggest noticeable jump for everyone.
Yeah, and I think my work in
Yeah.
Light in the Black Lake has also helped because
Mhm.
I'm on part 3 of Light in the Black Lake at the moment.
Mhm.
So having experienced writing 2 separate chapters of a story, because that's what I view these flash fictions as, like writing a chapter in a story. But then because a chapter itself is a story within a story, at least that's how I was taught it.
No, you're
So
right there. Like I think that story, like a chapter should, like a story, have that beginning, middle, end, and with that rising action, and then end with a
Yeah.
climax. In
Yeah,
and of
And
itself.
even
So-
when some chapters are conversations, even conversations are like stories in their own
yeah,
way.
so like
Mhm.
conversations, movements, paragraphs are stories within stories. So kind of like breaking it down into, okay, what do I need to make this functional? Light in the Black Lake, writing that helped it quite a lot, especially considering how I structure Light in the Black Lake. I'll once I finish the first draft, you'll get a better idea of how that goes. But considering how I structured it, that's going to help me a lot. That helped me a lot with how getting Ocean Lights down, like writing Ocean Lights as a story.
I think another thing too is that in terms of like with this story, I think that generally you also have a pretty good grasp of, like Kuru said, not Kuru, sorry, Lau, the details that you add are essential in terms of getting us to understand the characters, but then also care for them too.
Mhm.
Like I'd probably say,
Yeah.
like if I was to critique it, the weakest thing I'd probably say is probably just like I'm not sure what she's actually called, but I guess like the ocean nymph would probably be
I call her a
Yeah.
siren.
a siren. Okay,
Yeah, hence the presence of feathers on the back. It's supposed to
okay,
allude to like a siren. Or mermaid.
gotcha. I was gonna say mermaid was my next guess. I was gonna say
Yeah,
like a nymph or a
I
mermaid.
want to make this an anthology series at some point, an anthology series of flash fictions.
Mm.
But so like I'll elaborate more on like Thallus, his lore. I already said he's a shapeshifter, so we'll get to see that in action in later ones. But yeah,
Oh, if Thallus is a shapeshifter, is it implied that that was Thallus?
that is implied that it is Thallus.
Ah, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Real, so like in
No,
this case,
no, wait. The mermaid. No.
okay,
No,
okay.
the
Because I was
mermaid,
gonna say,
no.
I'm like, I would say like character wise, then like that'll be my big criticism there. But if
That
not,
is
then
not
okay.
Thallus. That the mermaid is not Thallus. She is a servant of Thallus.
So more like Mothra's priestesses then.
Yes,
in that case.
more along
Okay.
that. Yeah, more along the lines of Mothra's priestesses. Though
Mhm.
Well,
in this case, Mothra is a vengeful, ravaging, irritable god of the ocean who has a vengeance, who has a grudge against humanity. So,
Because I was gonna say, like, I think like the one thing that you could probably do would be maybe just slightly adding more establishment between her and Thallus. But outside of that, like again, everything
yeah,
is really good.
this is mostly just
I-
teasing it because, like, I think because I wanted to keep it like mysterious. I didn't want to tell the audience everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like
there
I
is
wanted
one.
to hint that okay, maybe these two have a connection, hence that ending line of
I'm sorry.
this
Yeah.
of I'm sorry, and Figgy had a gut feeling that this wouldn't be the last time he'd see her or the creature she was apologizing for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, I muted. I just disappeared for a second. I
You're
had
good.
technical difficulties.
You're good.
I really like this. Everyone's kind of already said what I would say, but I think submarines are very easy to do, like a claustrophobic setting for if Iron Lung is anything to prove.
Yeah.
And I will say, and this is just a me thing, and this I think is kind of a case of the format, is it feels very I don't feel like Dallas got. God, now I'm mixing up Dallas and Zidane. It feels like Dallas doesn't get a moment to shine outside of the charge. He doesn't. His presence in the story, you build up to it, and at least for me, the payoff didn't pay off very well for me. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I like the build up. I just think it's the moment he shows up.
Well, I would say, like, honestly, in that case, that may be the, like, I think that you have more work, like more room to play with. And again, like I said, there's several cases where I think you just reuse a few words as well as restate a few like a few bits of information. To where
Like
I
the
think
cat.
that the
Yeah.
cat, I think probably also you use trance twice. So I think if you'd said spell first and then trance,
Woke?
that would be better.
Woke? Woke much?
I said trance, not trance. So so there's that, and again, you had like essentially close to 100 words to add there.
Yeah.
So I think that would
Well,
be all
to
you
be
need.
fair, at least this, I don't necessarily agree that would have been enough because I was, and a little bit of thing for mine, I was feeling the word count hard.
I think the thing is,
With
like,
mine.
this to me feel, because for me, this was originally going to be like two sections in one. So like I was going to have an entire second half where Thalos attacks the research vessel, and that's where we get to see more of him. But because of the word count, obviously I can't do that, so I decided to lean into like setting everything up, establishing that mystery, and gripping the audience with, wait, what the hell is this whale thing? What the fuck was the woman doing outside? What is going on?
Actually, I have two criticisms that can we mute. I'm sorry for being so mean. I feel like every time I ask for Kuro to be muted, I'm kind of like being an asshole.
No, it's
Kuro,
like,
No, you're
really
good.
It's valid.
Okay, okay.
It's valid. It's like,
Okay.
because background noise.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say, I have two things where I'm like, okay, you remember I said that you like you probably are like the best out of us when it comes to neutral tone.
Yeah.
So what I meant by that is also that there is a change of tone in the middle of your story, even if you don't necessarily intend it to be, where someone is saying something that really shouldn't be there, and also it should be creepy as hell, even if you don't intend it to be. Seeing a woman in the bottom of the sea, this person should be like really creeped up by it, and you kind of need to do that unless she's so beautiful. Okay, as like a biologic way, right? Not that he like gets horny or anything like that, because even then I feel like he should be a little bit creeped out, right? Because you're like, oh, she's so beautiful, and then you realize, what the fuck is she doing here, right? And the fear should.
Yeah.
I think Loud just cut out there. But I think like because it kind of reminded me a little bit of the temple from Lovecraft. But I think with how the priestess is described, it doesn't come across necessarily as creepy, more just like weird.
No, I'm not saying it exactly. Yeah, no, but in a situation where you're like alone, even if there's someone else right there, right? You're like.
Thing is, she's not under
You're
the
isolated
water.
from the world.
She's not under the water though.
Yeah, because remember the research, their vessel is above, which is why how he describes her as being above the water, sort of like hanging there.
Oh, I got that wrong then. Sorry. Look, there was a point. I don't know if that's because I'm outside my house right now. But yeah, there was a point where the thing cut out. I was almost sure that they were like below. Sorry.
Yeah. No, they aren't. Because
they're looking through like
underneath. They're looking through the CCT essentially.
Okay. Then in that case, I did still have like some questions at first. I was, like when you said there was a woman, I was like wondering if at some point it will be like a statue, or if it was like, like an actual living thing, right? So there was like a little bit of doubt until you said that she looked worried. Right, but even then I was like, oh, will this turn out to be, like a statue signaling that there's like this culture here that like emerged or something? So for a moment I wasn't really aware if it was supposed to be, like a person, or if it was going to be kind of like like in King of the Monsters when they're moving the camera and suddenly there's like this face in front of them, and it's because there's a statue, right? But it's kind of like a little jump scare attempt in King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I will try to clarify that because it
I
could
think
have
it's
easily
like
been a statue.
I think it's relatively clear, but if I could, then okay. It's like
Yeah, maybe you just say that she, like he sees her being still, and then she like moves, and he realizes, oh, that's like like there is someone there. Because I feel also like with the same thing that he explained. Also, at first, you might think to yourself, is this like a statue? Is this like someone? Is someone trolling us or something? Is this maybe like the mastel of one of these old ships? Because back then, pirate ships or like all of these conquistador ships, they used to have sometimes like a woman on the front, which was supposed to represent like good luck and stuff like that. So at first, I was like, maybe that's it, and but just like a little moment of doubt that I have. I didn't know where the story was going at first. Then I understood it, but at first it was a little bit unclear. That's all. I don't think that is like a huge problem. And yeah, if they're not supposed to be in like down there with the thing, yeah, then you don't actually need the tone of like eeriness. Like there's not such a change, but it should be like a little bit weirder. And I feel like that wasn't like super effective. And one more thing with the description of the kaiju itself, I when you picture the images that they're seeing, do they have like very highlights? Because I feel like the way in which you could have described it better, when you're describing the bioluminescent stripes, is that should be the first thing that they see even before they realize that it's shaped like a sperm whale.
That's
because
what I was.
that way.
I think that's what I tried to convey. Where is
I can pull up the Thales design as well.
Yeah, pull up the Thales design. Where is it? A few seconds later, one of the submersible's crew spoke up. "Hey, what's that?" The man said. James immediately turned his attention back to the monitor, and the woman, or whatever she was, dove back into the water. The submersible turned to wherever the man was looking, and soon the researchers on the bridge could see what appeared to be bright flashing lights, all of which appeared to move closer. So they see the bioluminescence first. I don't know if I conveyed that well, but
no.
That's
You did. What I mean is, I feel like in that point, if you had described it as stripes, then you don't need to describe it as stripes later on. Sorry, I guess I didn't explain myself this time correctly. So sorry for that. Yeah, I just feel like you could have, because you do repeat it that same set, but if you just put more emphasis in it and the shape of the pattern that they're seeing, and then it turns out that it's like a sperm whale, I feel like you would get that description a little bit more organically, without like the repetition. But also it will help because like the lights are the first thing that they will see. And like that's all. Like in a way you could like mesh those two descriptions together into the first one, and then they realize, oh, it's a sperm whale too, so that's I just didn't express myself correctly.
One thing I think that you could do too is that I forget which animal specifically does it, but there's an animal that I know has bioluminescence and it like strobes it. And how you made if you described it as having the lights strobe similar to a cuttlefish, and then express like how massive it is, and like wonder if it's like, and like allude to it being something else before they realize it's a sperm whale. Because I'd say like in terms of the lights and stuff, you're gonna get some kind of image in terms of like what the creature's gonna look like in totality. So you did like, I'd say sort of almost like diverting the audience's expectations as to what the creature is before you finally get the reveal could be something in your favor there.
Yeah,
I think the thing for me with Thales is...
Oh, you go first. Yeah, sorry.
I think the thing with me for Thales is, and I like where he is, but I feel like he's... I don't know where to describe it. he feels, despite everything, somehow simultaneously feels plain.
Hmm.
And I don't know if that's. I don't know how to explain it.
You kind of cut out for me, Kuru. Say what you said again, because I might agree with what you're saying.
Dallas feels plain. It's like I think I said this during the design process. I feel like the stripes, that angle should have been taken further. I think I like the changing his fluke and pectoral fins and the dorsal fins to something that's not whale fins, but I think more needs to be done. I would dare say give him 2 dorsal fins, make the, you know, tail fin abnormally large. Maybe find a different head shape. I mean, you said this head shape is based off of Leviathan, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say, and I hate that I'm about to use this as a positive example. Asylum's Moby Dick.
Oh, Asylum
Because,
Moby Dick.
yeah, like the head of that thing, I think, could work better as a whale monster. In spite of how much I hate that film.
I have not
Clouds of
seen
Power
that.
said-
What the fuck is this thing?
I only
just
saw it
looked at-
once, and I only saw it once and thought it was garbage.
I just looked it up. What the shit?
Yeah, that's
I love
what
how when
everyone
I look
says.
up Asylum Moby Dick, the first thing I also see is a very cartoony version of Moby Dick and then a link to Wikizilla.
Well, you might as well be in an asylum if you're going to Wikivilla.
One thing that I was thinking of too, in terms of Thylus's case, and since I already have it here, is instead of just making him a giant sperm whale, I would say like extend a little bit on like the flippers here to appear more seal-like, so he could almost like, if he wanted to, could get up on land and support himself on those, tighten up the body here, but make these larger. So he like is almost like got that seal-esque body, but with this massive sperm whale type of head.
There's a shark that does that.
Epaulet
Oh.
sharks.
It might be an epaulet shark. Yeah,
it's
I think it's those.
Epaulet sharks. And I mean
'Cause where they-
catfish also do that, but I don't want to take too much from Gilyu.
Yeah, but I know
But
like epaulet
I
sharks
guess
are
also-
capable of like what they do is they will literally just use their fins and their tail and just kind of push themselves forward when they get beached.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at them right now.
But
So
I
I'm
guess
thinking you
also
could-
like
you could do
the
more with
question would be
that.
like, yeah. The
But,
question
yeah,
also
that's
would be
all.
like, what do you want it to do too? Like, right? Like, what is this thing? What do you want it to do in the story? Because depending on what you want it to do, right, you can start exaggerating certain things for that to be possible, right? And then you make it more unique, but also you're making it relevant to the story. So if it's always beneath the water, I feel like that's fine. If it's part of a culture, like I don't know if it's part of a culture or not, right? Because it has like the Motra ferries, but I don't. Of course, we don't have enough information to know if this is like a civilization thing or if it's just the siren, like the one siren. I would even say maybe even go like on the Tamatoa route, from Moana, where it may, like the bioluminescence has like a tribal pattern. But again, that would only depend on this thing being part of a culture, right? Maybe it's like a god, some siren civilization, and that's why it's
That's
painted, right?
actually exactly what I was going for.
Oh,
thing
then
is-
you need to make the patterns a little bit, when you look at them up close, from far away, they're really blurry, right? So you just see like a faint glow. But then as the thing gets closer, you start realizing, oh, maybe there's like stories being told, like hieroglyphics, or the things that, like, I don't
I was
know
gonna
the
say
word in
something
English.
loud. One idea you could do too is with how sperm whales are scarred all over the front of their face because of how they
because
hunt.
of like giant squids.
Yeah, the scarring isn't actually scarring, but it's like script. But from far away and in the water, it looks just like scarring. And then instead of having the striped bioluminescence, like similar to how Godzilla's body sometimes looks when he's supercharged, have the bioluminescence erupt from the scarring and from the script. And then if someone were to look at it in the water, it looks like it's just lighting up the body from the scarring. Like there's something inside there. When if you actually look at it, the script is lighting up for like specific reasons.
You know what I'm thinking? What if the patterns are actually tentacles from squids? So like if this thing is supposed to have like patterns that are made by like this civilization, what if part of that is supposed to look like it has like tentacles coming out from the sides of the mouth, for example? And so you look at it and you're kind of confused because you're like, is that thing fighting a squid? But then you realize, no, actually the squid is part of the design of the tattoos or whatever it is, because probably that's why this. Does it eat squids? By the way, is it like the main thing that it feeds on? Or
no, he doesn't need to eat at all.
Oh, okay, then never mind. See, for example, that wouldn't work at all then, but maybe for something else it could. But yeah, then.
But yeah, no, I get the general idea. I do plan to redesign him at some point. I'm okay with this design, but now that I think about it, yeah, no, I definitely feel like I could do better with it.
There's like a few doodles I've been doing as we've been talking that kind of demonstrate what I'm thinking of in terms of like where you could take the design.
Feel free to send them to me once you can.
Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, generally I'm glad you guys enjoy the story. I think I agree with y'all. I think this was a huge improvement. And I'm very happy with that improvement. I'm excited to see where this goes. So yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a really big improvement, and I'm like it's vindicating too to see such like massive improvement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm curious to see what Rooney thinks of this.
There we go. And let me stop there. And it's going to be a toss up at this point between Kuru and Lau, only because Vic hasn't shown up yet. So it's going to be one of you boys.
Flip a coin.
I'm thinking of one. Is it heads or tails? Make your call.
Tails.
And that means, what's it called? Lau gets heads, and it was tails. So Kuru's next.
Yay.
I always get good head. Always.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute
Just a
myself.
heads up. Just a heads up with this one. I ain't proud of this.
Oh, what's it called? Don't worry. Also, you don't have to read it too. I'll be able to read it for you. So
I'm gonna listen in, but I'm just gonna mute myself real quick. I'm gonna grab a drink because my throat is dry. So.
Gotcha. Oh, Victor sent in chat. He may hop on when you get home. What time do you think you'll be getting home by? I'm just curious. So I'll look at that. So just text in chat whenever that's gonna be. And before we read, Sam said, "Hey guys, what's new? I watched the second season of Crime Series Cross, and I imagine myself as running into human traffickers save people. So I figured I could recreate a story where Rodan or a similarly inspired kaiju protects people in Mexico from any sort of threat. I will come up with a story and design for this kaiju, and if I were to choose his home, it'll be El Dorado. I'm not making Rodan or this kaiju sound or act like Gamera. He's more in tuned to Mexican and Aztec deities like Quetzalcoatl or." I always mess up on that one. It's like Hochstil, I think. I may be wrong with how I just said that. And I may have just upset a bunch of Mexicans. Lau, are you upset right now?
I couldn't even really read it. Could you show it again?
I'll show it again.
Cochitl. Cochitl.
Is it Cochitl or Hochstil? Because I know like there's like Hochstil or Pochli, which is like similarly spelled, or I could be wrong.
Yeah. The thing is, if it was me, I would even mispronounce it even more, and I would say Cochitl. I would like instinctively add an E at the end, so I might be even worse. So yeah.
Hey, look at us all mispronouncing things, being filthy gaijin.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, let us go into Kuru's story. Seared in Hate. I'll never forget where I was when I saw the first AW units unveiled. It was supposed to be the next big thing in innovation. Finally, a working mech suit, just like I saw in those old shows from Japan I loved. I should have known some jackass would use them so we can kill each other. I don't remember the details of how this war began. All I remember was when I got picked to be a pilot for an AW unit. I was one of the lucky few. Lucky. At first, the AW units were more than enough to turn the tide of the war. There came in so many variations, some for stealth missions, some for ground battle only, some were air focused and could shred entire boats. There was an AW unit for free situations. We were unstoppable, and then those damn mutts started coming in. We started pushing the enemy front lines back, and everyone thought it'd be over soon. But then the hounds started showing up. Rabid dogs the size of rhinos that took the entirety of the front lines by surprise. Soon enough, those dogs were the only things we saw as the enemies. Soldiers, hardly. No actual people, just hounds. These dogs were easy enough to kill, but there were just so many. None knew how they kept getting so many dogs. No scientist could even get to examine them, as by the time any bodies were brought in, the dogs had already decomposed and were unable to be examined properly. We continued to press further into enemy territory, but there was no end in sight for that was until a few days ago. Apparently, the higher ups found a source about something troubling deep into enemy territory. And since I was the closest IW pilot in that moment in that area to home base, they recalled me back, gave me a briefing on the mission, and before I had any time to even process it, I was given a completely different AW unit. With me and my walker, were airlifted miles into the air and then airdropped to find out whatever it was, and then neutralize it. Once I was dropped in, I took a few minutes to get acclimated to the controls of my new AW unit. Unlike the Juggernaut I used, which was covered cockpit that treads in armor, automatic weapons, and even anti-AW weapons. Really, its only weakness was keeping the core's temperature managed. It gets too hot and AWs fail, and at critical levels, explodes. This MW was much lighter. It had 4 LMGs designed for AWs and a shoulder-mounted anti-AW rifle. Most of the weight was the actual weapons. The mech had the ability to shift its stance to a stationary mode focused on anti-air with the shoulder-mounted machine guns, and the more mobile mode with the rest of the weapons being able to be used. It was also far more sensitive to controls. I didn't like it. I drove eastward in the same direction they told me for over an hour with absolutely nothing in sight but a frozen wasteland. The only things going through my head being what I was promised to see at the end of my service, and I could finally go home. The very idea makes me laugh. Home. There's nothing for me to go back to. After enough time, I finally reached the point of interest they spoke of. On the surface, it seemed like any standard outpost, but something bothered me upon looking at it. Why did a seemingly innocuous outpost have 2 AW units stationed to it? Even one would have raised a few eyebrows, but 2? And they weren't old units. And they weren't old units unmanned to make everyone think they had something to hide. No, these were up-to-date models. They clearly moved as if piloted by a human. This wasn't normal. I backed away from the base, using the terrain and cloaking tech to ensure I was invisible. Then I engaged the stationary mode and examined both walkers closely. They were both the same model, heavy armor, multi-jointed legs to simulate a human, but were armed with high-powered laser weapons. Probably used the outside air as a natural coolant, allowing for easy use of the devices. It didn't matter. Before long, I took aim at the center of the main body, most likely an area for the cockpit, and the best potential weak spot in the armor before taking the shot. I made sure I had a safe spot to reposition. Regardless of whether the shot was a hit or not, I would need cover before they found me. Once I did, I fired the shot. I was already halfway to the second spot before I confirmed the main shot was a direct hit. The rest of the army was now scrambling. Before they could begin to organize, I'd already reloaded my next shot, confirmed my reposition, and fired again. And this one landed. Once I confirmed both walkers were neutralized, I closed in, swapping to the quad LMG, and took out the rest of the hostiles in the base. Before long, the only signs of life remained were molten piles of slag that were the main bodies of the walkers and the bodies of soldiers. Investigating further, the only lead I could see was an elevator shaft beneath the central tower. Poor decision or not, my only path forward was to grab the sidearm inside the mech and investigate the contents below. Descending down the elevator shaft, the trip downward felt like an eternity, but after some time, I finally reached the bottom, but I did not expect what I saw. The best way to describe what I saw was an egg containing a sun made out of snow, lined with a web of tissue with smaller other eggs surrounding the larger one. As I investigated the egg, a strange humming came from inside. It was like an entire body being vibrated from the inside. I barely had enough time to process this before something started to shake the inside. The large central egg started to shake, with viscous white fluid leaking out, before something burst. I didn't get a good look at it before I had already run back to the elevator. Once I got back up, I didn't hesitate and ran to my mech. A tremor began to shake the base as I finally got back inside my cockpit, and the creature from the egg burst out from beneath the snow. Getting a good look at it, it appeared like a dinosaur with weird crystals and other pieces jutting out from it. But black soulless eyes I could tell were staring at me, and it was twice the size of a mech. I opened fire immediately, and it howled in anger as a response, moving towards me with frightening speed, attempting to crush me and the walker underfoot. Sidestepping, I looked to examine the monster for any weak points. Next seemed like a good bet. Opening fire on its neck and chest, I actually did succeed in drawing blood, although it was more like a white fluid leaking out from its wounds than the red that should be normal. It made another lunge at me with greater speed, and it succeeded in ripping the largest shoulder gun off of the walker, breaking the barrel in half with its jaws to see what it could easily do to me and the walker, set a pin into my stomach, and I wanted to puke. I continued a barrage of gunfire tearing into its chest before it let out an unimaginable howl so loud it began to shake the ground beneath me, and my ears felt like they were going to explode. Before I knew it, the ground gave way beneath me, and this dinosaur and I were falling back into the cavern with its shrine. I didn't understand why send a random light walker into this mission. They knew something big was happening down here. Why not send multiple pilots to this locale? Why just me? As me and the dinosaur got up, I think in that moment it clicked for me. They sent me here to die. They had no intentions of seeing me return. So I was sent on this suicide mission to kill this monster. And as the creature roared at me again, charging at me, it ruptured one of the smaller eggs, and I saw one of the dogs fall out, half developed, and then it hit me. This was how they made an army of monsters. A roar came out. Me or the monster, I don't know. And I charged the damn thing, unleashing hell on it as I rammed the monster into the base of the shrine. A loud crack sounded off, and the cavern fell apart. And that's the story, guys. And everyone's muted.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm on break right now. That's why I was.
Yeah, that worked out.
I don't hate this, but I feel like I could have done better, and I was really feeling the word count. Like there was if the ending felt abrupt, that's because it was. I got cut by the word count. I tried to fit the original ending in with like 100 words. I couldn't do it. I only had I couldn't do it. It needed too much stuff.
So one thing I'll say here is that in terms of like the economy of words, given the fact that this character is a soldier, I think his internal monologue can use more dialogue, and then the action shorten the action a little bit. And there's a lot of cases where you just reuse words where you didn't have to. So I think if you reread it and like read it out loud, you'd realize how many words you're actually eating up on without realizing it. So in this case, I would say you actually have a good character for a flash fiction, because as a soldier, he's going to say things in a pretty short to the point manner. And I think that works well for the action. And with how it reads, I know you mentioned the walkers kind of being like armored core units. It reads like essentially like a debriefing from an armored core mission. And I think that you actually did this pretty well. I think it's just with the amount of time that you didn't have is why you don't feel as good about it.
It's funny. The only Armored Core game I've ever played was 6, and I didn't like it, but my god, I loved the mechs. I couldn't get acclimated to the way Armored Core plays.
Really?
I said Armored Core, more like Armored Camera.
Interesting. As someone who's like, because you've played the Souls games, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, because we talked about it. I'm surprised that you weren't able to acclimate it, because this, out of all these Armored Core games, this one feels and plays the most like a Dark Souls game. So, like, that's
I think-
just me. Like, I would say,
Not to mention, I found this game harder than any of the other Souls games.
really,
I don't remember what its name was, but the name of the boss that had the like bubble shield.
there's a few
Yeah,
that
like-
have that.
Yeah,
What
it
are
had
you
like the
thinking of?
bubble shield with flamethrowers. It's like one of the first major bosses.
Balteus.
I hated it.
Yeah,
Like-
Balteus is definitely like, he is a wall for a lot of people.
I got past it, and I was having fun again, but I just like it left a really sour taste in my mouth,
No, that's fair.
and it sucks because on paper I feel like I should love Armored Core, but I couldn't get used to it, and it's unfortunate. But the mech designs, that's what if I was to do a mecha story that wasn't Godzilla related, these are how I'm doing my mechs.
I know for Quarantine, a lot of the human mechs are very Armored Core inspired. But like, yeah, I would say like, honestly, this is really good. I think just go through like another run through this, and you won't realize how much space you actually have to expand out the story. Like, I really like what you're going for, and I think that if you just tighten up some of the language and you have it be more sultry sounding, you'll do fine. Trust me.
Yeah, no, that's
I
kind
didn't-
of it.
I liked the world I had made, but I just like this is something I definitely want to revisit this.
Mm-hmm. Like, let me show
Um,
some of the mech designs here as well. Bada bing, bada boom. Because like, the only thing I would say is that in terms of like with the mechs, I think probably it was like the head design is probably the only thing I couldn't imagine from these. But like everything else made a whole lot of sense. Like the stationary mode here, not that transitioning out from like the compact mode to this mode right here, like all of that made sense. And was this supposed to like intentionally be like a Jet Jaguar type of reference here?
No,
I
loud,
did it by accident.
loud,
I
Rufus, not
realized,
me.
Oh no, I'm just asking.
I
like, if
realized
it's,
really
like,
late
how much you
that
gain
it
in terms of
was.
like influences. Yeah.
Yeah, so not to like clank my own horn. It's just that like I've been drawing Jet Jaguar recently for the thumbnail of someone we all know for an upcoming video, and I think that it just was in my head when I made this. But the idea was just to make the head triangular, right? To go backwards, kind of, and for some reason, because of the perspective, and then because I was making it more like triangular, like upwards instead of backwards, it ended up looking like Jet Jaguar. And then I started thinking, like if this is supposed to, in general, be like a Recon type of mech, why not give it like more camera lenses, right? Like normally this thing will be supposed to, like infiltrate and do all of this stuff, right? So maybe it's supposed to help you see where you're going with night vision, thermal vision, all of these different things that help you know where you are standing at the moment, so you can pull things off, basically. Because at first I was going with like a bruiser thing, and then Kuru told me like this is supposed to be more like an infiltrator kind of mech. So that's when I did the little threads. Like the threads are supposed to be that big because it makes the body look smaller. So yeah.
Like I was gonna say,
Yeah.
it has like, with how the cannon kind of slumps to the side like that, it has like almost like a ninja katana kind of look. And I like the second head that's closer to the bottom that has the Kopaka Bionicle-esque lenses on it. Like I
you
feel like
noticed. You know this.
that was Kopaka
I just-
influence. Hey, your
I
boy
just wanna-
knows what's up.
I just want to say thanks to both Lau and Minecraft for doing the designs for this. I didn't have time to do art.
Mhm.
Oh no, yeah,
No problem, dude.
In living situation, I've been affecting art,
Yeah.
so don't worry.
I mean, I've been doing the stuff for OC Kaiju April early just so it doesn't like interfere too much.
I'm not even gonna bother. I don't have the time in a day.
Yeah, I
like-
know that's gonna be a big thing for me with OC Kaiju April is like if I have time or not.
I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. But Godspeed to everyone who is a part of it and will be taking part in their kaiju as a part of it, as well as
You people are psychopaths, and we salute you.
they are hungry. They're hungry for the art. That's what I
Yeah.
say.
Shout
Shout out to Primo, shout out to Primo, whose Kaiju is on the roster.
I guess now you can show the kaiju.
Mm-hmm. Usually, I would say like no Godzilla-esque looking kaiju, but in this case, because he's not the main part of the story and is a story involving this, I like it. Like it's a good design, and it skirts the exception in a very good way because the story is more about the mech and the character than it is about the monster. So I'd say
I wanted to make. I
respect.
think I took on the most intense challenge a kaiju creator could ever do, and it is to make a retrosaur kaiju. It is fucking impossible
Yeah.
to make a recognizable retrosaur kaiju and not do something Godzilla. It's inescapable.
Yeah, no.
Because he is so one of the approaches I took, and if I were to do a different one, for one, to change the feet, Godzilla has plantigrade feet, these are digitigrade. The eyes were a big thing. Give him like black eyes. I described it as black eyes, like a doll's eyes. The tail spike and
Mr. Spielberg.
and then with the segmented tail, I was just trying to do things to make it obviously not Godzilla, even though it is a retrosaur kaiju.
I actually
because
suggested the segmented tail.
The dinosaur in question I used was Acrocanthosaurus.
I was gonna. One thing too is that like, even if you're like being like, oh, I'm definitely not like aping Godzilla here. Sometimes you then just end up aping another person's kaiju, and this is not even like a knock against you or Minecraft, but color wise, you know who it really resembles whenever I look at it is Titanicus's colors.
Fuck! Especially that early concept.
So
Because I'm
it's
just like the first time I saw it, those were the
One
colors
sec.
I thought, but the design isn't exactly the same because
think
it's
he's
very, very different.
I feel like Biosaurus. I definitely want to reapproach him and the mech once I revisit this, because I feel if I could, once I get better at drawing, I feel like I can make this guy really charming. Because
There is one specific artwork of Titanicus that I know that you just reminded me of.
Because like the whole thing with Biosource is that it is kind of the next stage in their monster mass production plan of the enemy country. And the idea was to make something that just looks mass produced, like could be mass produced.
Actually, this would be like a perfect fake character for me to work on, since it is supposed to be a bioweapon. What are like the like what is the vibe? Like what actually not vibe? What is the role that they're trying to do with this weapon compared to their other creatures?
So Biosaurus, I guess, whereas the dogs are kind of the foot soldiers, this is kind of, I don't know how else to describe it, the wall breakers.
So like essentially like vanguards.
Yes.
Shit,
Okay.
I can't find the artwork. I know it's somewhere.
Because in that case, besides obviously being wall breakers, are they more like they're obviously probably not fast moving, so they're more like slow, ponderous type of beat then.
Yeah.
TC server. Sorry,
there's a few things I could probably play with for this idea.
Sorry, my autism is going into overdrive right now because I really need
Your Titanic-tism?
Yes. Because I really want to find that fucking artwork. I know what you're talking about. I just need to find it. Found it!
You found it, send it to me. I should be able to bring it up here.
I'll DM it to you. Because I know exactly. It's like, now that you reminded me of, I can't unsee it, and I'm so pissed. It's like a really early concept that TC shared.
I'm gonna kill myself.
No!
They look the same.
Not exactly the same.
Not
They look almost the. They look almost the same.
Hurts.
God damn you!
Why? Funny thing. Before the stream, I was watching the short that you made about your kaiju looking like another person's kaiju.
Kuru. Do you know who else copies stuff like this?
Wow! Shut up! Do not finish that sentence.
Damn.
Bro, you got a Hispanic person laughing so hard he's actually laughing and not going ja ja ja.
Fuck.
But I think, like, honestly, tonight I might also do some Biosaurus designs as well, and specifically like really incorporate Acrocanthosaurus in the design, because based on like the role you're describing to me, I could think of a few ways where they could engineer something that would be perfect sort of Vanguard unit, but also a good match for a.
I wanted because I feel
like a Max.
Acro is my second favorite, like big theropod. And out of all theropods, I feel if you're to talk about a heavy dude who is just chunky, Acro is second place only to the T-Rex.
In this case, DM me your favorite Acro interpretations, and I will make something.
All right, sounds good. I'll send those to you probably once I have a moment. I'm still eating right now.
Balling. What are you eating?
Sorry, I have my mouth full.
With dick.
No. I literally just had a spicy chicken sandwich from fries and chicken nuggets.
Why would you get the spicy version?
Because I'm a psychopath who loves spicy food, Minecraft.
Well, no, because you're brown and you like spice. Minecraft's the closest we're getting to a white boy, and that's why he's offended by the spice.
Zim, you've seen me. I'm paler than pale.
Don't you lie to me.
No, objectively he is.
Objectively, this is a fact of life.
Do not lie.
I am like...
You have met me and my siblings.
It is physically impossible.
Okay, Nico, you're the closest we have to being white.
It is physically impossible to, like, for me to tan as well.
It's okay. It's okay. We support you. This is a diverse, inclusive environment.
Damn it. Zimzilla 99's gone woke now.
Wokezilla 99.
Wokezilla, simply stop. I'm gonna fucking choke.
Crew is literally Mark Zuckerberg's.
Nico!
I'm actually...
What, you mean... Wait, Nico, do you mean Mark Zuckerberg for the Netflix documentary?
What?
Yeah, you know, they always just race swap everyone in Netflix documentaries.
No. He means Mike Zuckerberg from Area 51.
I mean,
he means Mark Zuckerberg as a lizard person.
Oh wait, no, then yeah, you're like you know, like those darker skinned lizard people, like the adder people, the snake ones.
God fucking damn it, Zim. Do you want your channel nuked?
Maybe.
I can live out my Godzilla, so fantasy. We can go full Japan. Exactly. Actually, you know what? You should get it nuked twice, just for tradition.
Well, no, 3 times and became Godzilla trash. That was bad. That was
I'm
bad.
dead. I'm dead,
God.
bro. I'm dead.
God.
Oh no!
Ugh.
Oh no!
Oh, fuck.
It's like it's the
If when
Vegeta
I get to
Team
the
4-star. Oh no!
Oh no! It's just that scene from Planet of the
Oh
Apes.
yeah! Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no! Ah!
Oh, but
I'm gonna like. All right.
Dick said he should be home in 10 minutes, which
That
means
gives us
it's time to
for,
go
I
over
think,
Loud's as well.
for-
So
Perfectly.
I guess would y'all say this was better than Pale Invaders, about the same, or worse?
I would
of
say
course
it's
better.
it's
Improved.
different from Pale Invaders. It is better, and I think that in this case, the only criticisms that I can levy just come from the fact that you just didn't have a whole lot of time to like work on it.
It also
which I
just
don't fault you for.
I also just straight up writer's block. I had to fight writer's block in order to do this.
Oh, like I'll tell you this: if you ever want to do like a military style story again, literally just throw things my way, and I'll be like, I got you.
Just like, yeah, if I ever do a 2.0 of Seared and Hate, I'm just gonna run it by you and I'm just say tear it to shreds with military lingo.
Exactly.
Just tear it to shreds.
I got you, my little brown boy.
Zim that shit.
I'm zimming.
Zimming it. I'm zimming it. I'm zimming it so good. Oh god, it's everywhere.
I like to spray it everywhere all the time. And we got a $1 super chat from JDFVA. Thank you so much, my man.
Is this
And-
becoming tradition at this point where JDF shares $1 with the U?
I am truly his stripper. Dancing for those $1 bills. I love to shake it. I shake it real good.
God damn it.
I love Minecraft. I love you long time.
What?
I do real good. $1.
Why are you dude, not me? Let me watch on the sidelines, damn it! Oh, shit.
What would you say was like your main inspiration?
No, it was Armor Core, I think. Crew already mentioned.
Oh, for me, it was kind of Armored Core, but then also unintentionally, you could say this was based off of the mere premise of Iron Lung of just being sent on a mission that your higher ups know you are not coming back from.
I knew I wasn't paranoid. Yeah, I
Which
was
is
like,
funny.
Because you two always do similar similar stuff. So I was
Listen,
like,
we share a brain cell.
Yeah,
Well,
but it doesn't mean that it was like a conscious thing. So I was like, should I say it or is it like weird?
Wow, this isn't even the first time this has happened. This isn't even the first time this has happened.
This has
Look at our
happened more
Monsterverse
times.
pitches.
This has happened more times than I can count. Like
Our Monsterverse pitches were almost identical. The only difference was was the antagonist Kaiju we chose.
One thing I think you should do too, in terms of if you're doing another story like this with an Armor Core reference, also take some inspiration from Earth Defense Force.
But I've been wanting to play those games.
Oh, and Lost Planet.
I just don't got anyone to play them with, and I feel like Earth Defense Force would be really fun with the boys.
I think it should be on. I think it's on PC. I could be wrong. I think it is. On
I
PC.
don't have a PC.
Oh right, yeah, console boy.
I'm working on that. I just gotta get a desk.
Like literally, all your streams are literally a monitor on top of like a lawn chair.
I'm not joking. Well, I mean, I literally said earlier my setup, my complete lack of a setup for this stream, which is literally just a single earbud and a phone.
I mean, hey,
I've got one earbud.
All a man needs.
I've got one earbud, a phone, an Oreo, and a desire to fight God. And that's all I need.
Wait. So wait a minute. Let me get this straight. So if Zim's the lighter, Minecraft's the white boy, and Crew's the palest, does that make Lau the guy in the corner join the chaos as he watches?
So Lau's in the cuck chair?
Yes.
No. In a way, I'm more like Russia. While everything goes to shit, Russia was just what? Oh, actually, no. Never mind. Russia joined in lately. Never mind. Yeah, I guess.
Well, then the second Vic shows up, you're going to be joining. I am dragging you down to this hellhole by the legs.
I'm dead.
Yeah, I I feel like this was kind of just an experiment, and I just I want an excuse to make a retro sword kaiju, but a retro sword does not fit New World Dragons at all, because it's like a weird hodgepodge of all my favorite different eras of paleo art. If I wanted to do something strictly retro sword, it would make absolutely no sense. So I made this whole thing.
I mean, hey, I vibe with it. But
Alright.
let us go on to Zilao and his story, Freedom. I'm a free
America.
That sounded, I don't remember what voice that is, but it sounded exactly like a certain voice from a meme like years ago. But also, real quick before I forget, the dates are also included in the story, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, so this is Freedom Balau. So February 3rd, 2026. I assume it's 2026, right, Lau? Or like it's the 20s, 20 somethings, or is it a different? Because they just do them by like without the extra before it.
Yeah. We just say 26. That's all.
Okay. Then yeah, February 3rd, 26. I never felt at home here, no matter what I did. People just seemed to have a natural inclination to dislike me. The low self-esteem they had caused made it impossible for me to understand that the main reason was jealousy. My family was the only group of people who ever liked and supported me. For some, that was too far. They saw my clothes, toys, and the fact that I had grandparents when many of them barely had parents, and they punished me for it. By the time people stopped behaving like this, I strayed so far from the capacity to interact with others that there was no way to fix my attitude, which by the age of 14 had turned borderline antisocial towards those I mistrusted, even if they just wanted to get to know me. Even those whom I considered friends, I came to think mostly spent time with me because my family treated them better than their own did.
By the
Not
way,
because of me.
Sim, are you? Sorry for the interruption. Are you reading
Yeah.
the latest version I
Version
sent
5.
you? Okay. I think Thank you.
Yeah, version 5 is the one. Yep. That's the latest one, right?
It's just that I was almost sure that I had corrected a sentence, but it must be that I didn't press Control S or something. So never mind.
Okay.
It's okay.
No, okay. Gotcha. I just want to make sure that I'm doing it right by you as well. By the age I turned 14, bro, even though I'm dead. Not because of me. I'll just read the sentence. I came to think mostly spent time with me because my family treated them better than their own did, not because of me. Throughout the insults and aggression, they never moved a finger to stop it, whereas I fought for them when I had to. Outside of my family, the only thing this place has shown me is that no one reaches out with a helping hand in times of need. At least not for me. I'd rather die than stay here any longer. I don't really have a choice at this point. Even if I must leave my family, as long as I'm here, I will never have anything of my own. I love my family, but I can't belong to them. I can't remain the kid of the house for the rest of my life. I must escape this reality. I will no matter what. March 6, 27. I look out the hatch window and struggle to understand how people still believe the earth is flat in 3027. As the earth gets smaller, I feel like everything wrong with my life is left behind. I don't want to think things will be better, but realistically, they couldn't have been worse. So there's only upwards from now on. I have been accepted into the University of Moonground, and I'll specialize in atmospheric maintenance. 3328. I finished the first year. My teachers like me, and so far, I've gotten more praise than the rest of the class. I wouldn't have made it without Hinata and Rodrigo. However, I've noticed that we've been outperforming the lunar natives in all the simulations. I guess it's the immigrants' need to prove ourselves. No family or friends to distract us from our studies, or the fact that we are best friends. It's probably all related to each other. 24/4/28. For the first time in history, the lunar colonies will be ready to dismantle the domes. The atmosphere is ready. 50 years, but it's done. Humanity has officially, truly colonized the moon. There'll be no more glass between us and space. 31/12/28. It's New Year's Eve. The dome will be dismantled tonight, and we'll have the front seats in the Academy Observatory. Most people will be in the town plaza, but me, Hinata, and Rodrigo, we live here now due to a flood in our apartment. And being that this is the highest point in the colony, we don't want to miss this opportunity. 4 a.m. Rodrigo and Hina sleep on their beds. I hear the echoes of fireworks outside as I look at the open sky. I feel like the keeper of a lighthouse. That's basically what the tower is. And with an observatory added to the top, in the first days of colonization, man sat in this small, now forgotten tower to research astronomy. Probably dreaming of the next step into the galaxy. Now I'm here, having insomnia, looking through our own little glass dome. Normally, I can't sleep as I think of past regrets, but tonight, I can't sleep because for the first time in my life, I'm happy. Even if only for tonight, for the first time, I have hope. Knock, knock. I jump and look around. I hear fireworks and I wonder if I really heard knocking. I go downstairs to investigate. The tower has spiral stairs in the middle of the structure connecting all 3 floors, from our rooms to the kitchen to the bathroom and entrance. As I reach the 2nd floor, I hear it again. Knock, knock. I stop. It's coming from upstairs. I hear one of the guys wake up, groaning, and I have no way to say this properly in... I assume that's Portuguese or Spanish?
That's Spanish. Don't worry about the pronunciation. It's just, like the character speaks in Spanish.
Gotcha. Tocan la puerta? Asks Rodrigo. What's going on? Hinata asks. Hinata says, half asleep. Knock, knock. Guys, is that you making... What is that? Hinata screams. I run back upstairs before even reaching her room. I notice them looking at the ceiling where a giant pale hand knocks on the glass. No one moves. No one can say anything. And that's when I realize the fireworks outside are screams. Guys, I call out, my voice breaking as I hear my own fear setting in. Come here. The hand extends its blackened fingers, pressing against the glass, the way a person leans their eyes into a fish tank. I feel seen. Rodri and Hina scream at me as I snap back to reality, realizing I'm blocking the way out. As we go down the stairs, the lights flicker and Hinata trips down, taking me with him. I feel a couple fingers crack. I land face down on the 1st floor. Rodrigo tries to help us back up, but before he can ask if I'm okay, I stumble towards the door, probing for a handle. Outside, the screams get louder, and I notice Rodri looking out the small circular window. They're everywhere, he whispers. I ignore the crawling thoughts and find the handle as the lights come back, and the sound of broken glass chases us from above. Before escaping, I see it breaking through the stairs. I lock the door and we run down the catwalk toward the elevator connecting us to the main building. We're outside now. Arms surround the colony. I look up and see something dark covering the stars, camouflaged against the void. All the technology to colonize the moon, but we still have slow-ass elevators. Hinata screams as he hits the buttons repeatedly, as if mocking him. The indicator marks 5, then 6, 7. We are on the 15th floor. Then a second hand lands on a nearby building to the left, as the first one retreats back up from the now hollowed-up tower before moving towards us. Dark-tipped fingers approach, bleeding black liquid from a dozen cuts. I'm the one closest to it, and I freeze. The way the fingers touch around reminds me of an insect moving its antennae to probe its surroundings. But there's too many blackened fingers coming towards us, some oozing black from the place where the nails should be. I'm not just paralyzed, I can't think either. Rodrigo drags me into the elevator. I see the palm sliding open to reveal an extended tube like an anteater's tongue, but Rodrigo is oblivious to the aberration. I hear the elevator doors. Hinata is already inside, pulling me in. Before Rodrigo can join us, I hear the tear of flesh and he stops. Come on, Hinata screams as he falls backwards against the elevator wall. Rodrigo doesn't respond. I see the tears fall down his face as his stomach and chest seem to cave in under his shirt. His entire body is crushed into the tube, and only one word is all that's left as he points at the door. Close. I can't close it. It's a betrayal, but I see the second hand with my peripheral, and we're out of there. I don't know what sinks faster, the elevator or the hole in my chest. I hear Hinata hyperventilating. I want to help, but I can't stop shaking. I feel dead. I wish I were. This scream snapped me back to the present. The elevator door is now open in front of me. We're reaching the main building's first floor. Rodrigo is dead. I turn to Hinata. He's hugging his legs. Suddenly, I'm looking at him from outside the window. Before I can call out to him, the elevator shakes. I see the fear in his eyes before the elevator is pulled upward bit by bit. I reach out to him, grab his hand and pull, but as the elevator goes up, it rips his arm off. The screeching of metal can't even cover up his screams. My head feels tight. I'm outside now. I'm still holding his hand. My eyes follow the arms up. I see all of it this time. An endless millipede floating above the colony. Its mouth is clutched fists, fingers everywhere, hands and arms, all ended in frostbitten black. I never felt at home on Earth. It reaches a hand towards me. I deserve it. And that's some cosmic horror, gentlemen.
That is certainly cosmic horror. Makes me raise a bit of an eyebrow at you calling us out for the Iron Lung inspiration.
It's really funny because I could, like, with how Lau designed it, I could totally see this also inhabiting the Iron Lung universe.
Absolutely.
I think I saw the design for it. Lau,
Yeah.
I just want you to know, I hate you. I despise you and everything you stand for.
Thanks.
Yeah? Yeah.
Also,
You want to explain yourself, Lau?
So, do you want me to? Oh, by the way, there's another image just in case the clarity is not good enough. That's how it looks from the side. Because I know that some people told me that the nail of the thumb looks like an eye, but it doesn't have eyes. It's just fingers.
Could you describe the
So-
undescribable horror?
sweet, man-made
that's
horrors beyond
the
my
one-
comprehension.
That's the one thing. Yeah, that's actually the main thing I don't really like from Lovecraft. I think that you can describe the thing, and by describing it, it's worse than if you just say, "Oh, it's like a mass of tentacles." Or can we mute Kuro just a little bit?
Yeah.
So, with Lovecraft stories, I feel like it's a mass of unimaginable, blah, 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 and it's like, like I feel like that works if your idea of a design is basically like a really fucked up blob, right? But I don't know. I just feel like even if the character might not think about a millipede necessarily, it's something that you can pull off by basically using the description so the reader understands the idea. So what happened here was the story started like way more easily than the first story, because I was just like, okay, it's a kaiju fan fiction, so this time I'm going to think of the kaiju itself, right? Instead of like the idea of the story being, like, what if I was able to play like an instrument on top of Godzilla while he's fighting? This time it was like, no, just like let's start with the kaiju itself. And I was like, I don't know. I think it was like my second idea. It was like, what if I have like a centipede or like a millipede? Millipede sounds better, right? Because it's like a bigger word, and it has like human arms. And I was like, like that could be fine. And I pictured it having arms that were so long that it was basically floating above the city just because it was like held up so high. But then I was like, I don't know, like I don't know if I like that, because it was in a way an inspiration for my original story, like Mecha Solo, when I said the creatures that came from the sea were all either bugs or fish. I don't know if you remember that, but that was basically what happened with the first main character that I had in Mecha Solo. And he actually has a line that says, "When I realized that they were giants, I stopped fearing them." And so I was like, maybe I shouldn't use a bug because I think that there's a thing with bugs that no one talks about, which is rape. And I know that might sound weird, but what's creepy about the bug, right? That they're so small. What I think, legitimately think, that most people are afraid of bugs like climbing up your leg. And if you're a woman with a skirt or whatever, and you see like a millipede going up your leg, your first fear is that it will literally like, go in there. If you're a guy, you're also afraid probably that, oh, dude, like a fucking cockroach is climbing up my leg, or like it's inside my pants right now, right? Like that's the most disgusting, violating thing because they can't get anywhere and they don't care. Like it's not malicious, but also like the inhumanity of it. The fact that these things don't even understand what they're doing. In a way, it's even almost more violating because it kind of removes your humanity. So when you make bugs really big, I just feel like you kind of take that away, that fear of they can literally just get anywhere. And so I wanted to make that come back if it was gigantic. And so that's why it has the human arms. That's why it has the fingers, everything. Because then it raises some other questions, like why the fuck does it have human hands? And the reason why they're frostbitten is because it's in space, for example, because it's cold out there, right? And that's when I was thinking, like, okay, I kind of have the idea of a human arm millipede, but the three words that were like left that I just added for the like cheesiness factor was from outer space. And that's when the story started. So I started with the idea of the creature and what it should do. Grabbing people from above, like inverting the roles, but in a way, again, making it violating again, because it's not like a pincer grabbing you and cutting you in two. It's like a hand. It's a hand that's on top of that. It has like this tube coming out sometimes. My idea is that not all the hands have those tubes, like the feeding tubes, but just the fact that it can get into your house and grab you and take you from your bed and your whole family and just like loop. That was what I really liked. So yeah.
I was gonna say
also Void Ghidorah. It's
like
so long.
mine.
If you zoom in, you'll see that it goes on for like a really long time, like legs, and even on the background of the background, like you'll notice a little slight continuation, like this. Yeah, it's floating above the dome.
Like the first thing I thought of was like it kind of feels like a mix of Estelle from Elden Ring mixed with the finger creepers from Elden Ring. I'm not sure if you've played Elden Ring or anyone in the audience who has. Like it feels like a combination of those two things. And
Elden Ring, I've never. I know the game, right? Like it's a huge fucking game.
You
I
know
think it
what?
won Game of the
For
Year.
some reason, looking at this thing, what I think of more is like, yeah, the finger creepers, the living failures from Bloodborne, and also Ebritus in the Brain of Mensis.
kind of reminds me of Abretus too. A little bit. The living failures, I think it's because of like their goober like face. I don't really think of the living failures. Like this, I'm just sending them to you now, Lau. That's Estelle, and then I'll show you what the finger creepers look like.
It's
Okay.
like, dude, I'm gonna be honest, the finger creepers disturbed me more than anything else in Bloodborne.
The finger creepers are definitely like one of my least favorite enemies in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even that, like, I just...
another creature is the hand monster from Dark Souls 3.
I'm trying to remember. I'm forgetting it.
The Monstrosity of Sin. That's its name.
Why am I forgetting?
And one
It's a
more
very
thing I wanted
rare
to
enemy.
I don't think I ever
One more
saw
thing
it.
I wanted to say is one inspiration that I think it's important because it was in my head, but I actively discarded it because I didn't want to do something too similar. Is that spirit from Avatar? like the
Mm.
literal centipede, yeah, with a human face. I was
Yeah,
thinking
Cow.
of that because I was like,
Oh, the
I
face
want a
deal.
human element. Yeah, I wanted a human element, and at first that was like my first thought, but then I was like, no. Like I just wanted to say that like that was an inspiration, probably indirect, but it was an inspiration in the sense that that's when I hit that wall and I was like, no, deviating. So I feel like sometimes the things we avoid are just as important as the things that inspire us. So
Mhm.
I just thought that it was important enough
I
that
think
I
the
should
best
say
thing
that.
though that you do here is like the face still looks super insectoid like, but you can really tell that these are hands though. And that's what's so creepy about it. And like I love it. I really like it.
Mhm.
This actually was subconscious in my head because I always wanted to grab a mannequin, bash its head in, and in that hole fill it up with fingers and hands and actually make the jaws. So that was also part, and I wanted to do that for years, for like a creature or like something for a short film, like or just to make like a sculpture, like a statue out of it,
Mhm.
right? So that was also like the main thing where I had like, okay, so I want the clenched fist to be like the jaws, for example. That's also something that just came from. So it's all recycling all things that never happened, or like, yeah. So that's it basically.
No, hey. Good work, my man.
Yeah.
And since we have him here, welcome in Davik.
Oh yeah, sorry,
Hello.
Vic. Hi,
Hello. I really like your monster.
thanks. But yeah, the Lovecraft angle. Now that I hear, Sim, could you show the page, as it's like formatted? Because there's something that I wanted to start talking about. If your guys are fine with it,
What did you want me to showcase?
the page itself, like the story, how it's like
Oh, the
formatted.
actual story. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Let me do that for
There,
you.
there was a question you asked me, and I just couldn't tell you the truth because it's kind of part of the narrative itself, and it's something that you can only do if you're reading it and in written format. You asked me, hey, what's the year supposed to be, right?
Yeah, it's right
So
here.
for the reader, it's not supposed to be clear. So you kind of put me in an uncomfortable position because I had to lie to you. Oh
Right
yeah, yeah,
to.
26. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, it's something 26, but it's actually 3026 instead of 2026. So that's something that you only realize, I think, when the guy is leaving and he makes the comment on there's still flat earthers in 3026, and that's like the little catch that's there.
Mhm.
Uh, Also, one thing that I wanted to do is if you go to the bottom, if you roll or scroll down, visually, when I wrote it, Sim, can you scroll down?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, just to the bottom. Because
Perfect.
there you have the dates, and so you have the divisions. So just skip through, to the very end.
Say that again loud. You just cut out for me for some reason.
Uh, yeah, maybe it's the wind. I was going to say if you can scroll to the like very end,
The
the last
last
page.
page. Okay. Yeah.
So before at the beginning, you notice that there's like a lot of empty space. That's because of the date. Like maybe I should have put that in the center. But if you're reading the page, one of the things I wanted to do is that as more horrible things start happening, suddenly he says, okay, now the elevator doors open, right? But you're supposed to be confused because it's like, you just close them. And then he's like, they open and we are on the first floor. And you start realizing that time starts to like jump more, and the paragraphs have more space in between than in everything else because he's kind of just like floating through things at this point. That's the way in which I was trying to depict, his mental state instead of, like really hammering down on it. The way that some Lovecraft stories say I was trying to do it in a more visual way, so that's something that kind of gets lost when you are hearing the story. But yeah, like this was just like there are some things that you can only do in written text, in written format, and these are some of the things that I wanted to do. Yes, I only feel like explaining that because clearly, like, there's no way that scene could convey that. But it's supposed to be there subconsciously when you're like reading yourself.
I think, like, honestly, like, what you could also do is that if you take this here and you like move that there, or you moved it all the way to the end, move this here, and then have that like that,
Oh yeah,
you could do something like that on the page. Because like,
yeah.
and that could also work well too, where if you formatted this into a book and then you had like a small piece of art where you see the characters like being brought up into like the mouth here, you can then make that comparison there. Because I think that like sometimes books can help with like a small piece of an illustration to just add to the vibe.
Mhm.
But do you need me to move to any other pages real quick?
No, that's all.
Okay.
Those were like the main things I did. I also wanted to write the first knock knock vertically, but
Oh, that'd be
that
cool.
raised up the count word, because clearly, like, he's not supposed to notice that it comes from above. He's like thinking about his life, and suddenly it's like knock knock, and he assumes, as anyone else would, that it's coming from the door. But you are supposed to get a little hint visually that it's like coming from above, but
No,
he
that
just
makes
doesn't
sense.
notice yet.
And real quick, I just need to attend to something. So we'll let you guys ramble and I will just move this off the stream. And while you guys continue to talk, just a quick word from a special guest on the stream.
The host of Zimcast will be right back.
Super epic.
So you guys have fun.
Hell
Put Minecraft in
Women
charge.
jump scare.
Yes,
Women
I'm in
jump
charge.
scare.
So,
Oh,
wow.
no.
Wow. Are you sure you didn't take inspirations from Iron Lung?
Yeah, no. This again was something that came from a long time. Like the thing I described with the mannequin, that's from 2020 maybe. It's an idea that I've always had. Just having hands come out of a face, basically, and forming like the mouth and all of that.
Calm
Void
down,
Ghidorah was
Minecraft.
also a little bit of an inspiration, because this thing is just floating around.
I will
Not
believe
every
you for now.
not every cosmic horror is Iron Lung, my boy. You're
I know,
sounding like
it's
those
just
Snyder
like-
bros that say Zack Snyder did it first.
No, it's just like the whole... Because Kuru and I had both of ours based on Iron Lung. Zim...
Which is funny
I can
because I've never
believe-
even seen Iron Lung, the movie, or played the game. But
Yeah.
it was just in premise, I understood what the premise was, and I just thought it was funny.
Yeah. So, like, there's that. So it was kind of eyebrow raising how all three of us took from different aspects of Iron Lung. Technically, all four of us, because
Yeah, I did play it, and but I don't remember when I played it, because like you were there, I think, when I was like
No,
playing
yeah.
it. I literally sent the
you
image.
played it, I think, the week the movie came out. Or like
Yeah.
the
When I
week
get around to
after.
seeing the film, I'm definitely going to play the game close together with it, so that way I can compare them.
Yeah,
And all
still
that.
waiting. I'm still waiting on news on the DVD stuff. I don't expect that for a while.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, better late than never, though. But
No. Anyways, so what are we gonna do until Zim gets back?
I don't
Let's
know.
discuss Godzilla 98 and GXK.
No.
Yes.
No.
I'm second in command here. I have seniority, so get in line.
No, they Sim said that Minecraft was in charge.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of what to talk about.
Iron Lung.
No.
He already did
Man.
that.
We already
You
just
hate
did.
Iron Lung now.
We just did.
Talk about more.
I guess.
Oh, right. Oh, I am getting the third volume of Gaiatima next week, which should be really cool. I already really like the subterranean kaiju on the cover. Like that is I already like that design. So
At long last, I am returned to be granted
Hi!
audience once more.
I was just saying Gaiatima stuff.
Upon my name as Godfrey, the first Elder.
Oh right. Did anyone see what D-Man's going through? Did anyone else get that?
No, what was
Check
it?
the Discord because Saibu is posting images of that because I got that earlier and I'm just raising my own eyebrow.
Should we talk about it? Since it's probably like personal stuff.
No, because this is affecting other YouTubers. I would know. I have seen this.
Really?
YouTube making dumb decisions really what's new.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
that
like-
new thing?
I've been like, bro, at this point, what needs to... Bro, I'm not gonna lie, this might sound weird, I cannot wait for the day YouTube crashes and burns.
Yeah, honestly. There's
Oh,
like
it's
lot
a
of things
YouTube
that are-
situation.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I thought that it was like a personal thing or something.
No, it's a YouTube thing.
No,
Okay,
it's
okay.
YouTube being weird for some reason. I don't know why.
Because don't you understand him? It's the Rothschild!
I should have just kicked you from the stream just for the meme.
But yeah, Zim, I'm getting the third volume of Gaiatima coming in next week. So
Ballin'.
I really like the kaiju on the cover, the subterranean one.
Mm,
So yeah.
awesome.
I guess, just, what exactly has everyone decided the one monstrous moment?
I have a pretty good idea as which one I want to do.
I have
Because
mine.
I'm thinking
I just
for
want...
mine, at this point, I'm not going to do Gaiatima, even though I really want to, because otherwise it's just going to get lost in the shuffle, and it's going to be very homogenous if everyone is talking Gaiatima.
Yeah, because Gaiatima is great. It deserves to be talked about, but
Oh, yeah.
Potato's doing it. I don't know if you're doing it still, Zim.
No, if Potato's doing it. I have another one in mind that I wanted to do.
Oh, what is it?
I know for me, what I'm going to do is, I'm probably going to do something Space Godzilla related.
Fair.
Yeah,
Because, he's a bit of a hot fun topic right now because of Supernova, so I figured that would, more than anything, likely get attention.
Yeah, and also maybe prove some of the haters incorrect.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if I could make my one monstrous moment why Space Godzilla is a good kaiju.
Yeah,
That could work.
I think.
But
And
since
I already
we
have
do
the
have
thumbnail for
Vic,
mine, so
we might as well get going to Vic's flash fiction.
Well, I just wanted to ask you, Sim, if you have like any criticisms or like anything.
Honestly, not really any I can think of, because I'd say, actually, wait, where was it? There was one I could think. So what I think you could have done is, like, the only criticism I would say is if you dropped the 4 a.m. after the last date, because it goes 4 a.m. and then you never get like another time, unless like it all happens essentially in less than an hour. But I think it could be interesting if you added more of those time slots there, so like we kind of know how long this like encounter is going for.
Yeah. For example,
That'd be like my
when he
only
goes to
small
the-
criticism.
No, it's a good one because I can already find like a place. Basically, when the doors open, it could say, like it's, like 4:30 or something like that. So you know that it's been like the last 30 minutes, and and you know that he's been sitting there in the elevator for a long time.
Yeah, because I think that like that would then give us sort of a general idea as to how much space there is across like this landscape that they're going through.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I have drawn the place. Wait a minute. Because I have it on paper, so I think I might as well show you. So the idea that I had was, well, this is like a tower. I always like lighthouses, right? So I kind of wanted to tell the story there. I'm just going to look for the page because I have it right here. It's actually right next to Kuru's mech. I just have to find it. Okay. I'm just going to send you the little picture.
And while Kuru's doing that, Vic, are you going to want me to read your flash fiction, or do you want to read your flash fiction? Because in some cases, everyone has been reading theirs this time.
I would rather you do it yourself.
Okay,
Just
that's fine.
'cause, yeah.
And there we go. Let me open link. Wrong one.
And I'm guessing this is going to be the last one, and then we're going to be wrapping it up.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So basically, they're in that tower, and then they say we go to the outside to the catwalk, right? So that's where they're connected. What I was trying to do is, like basically they're like the immigrants, right? So they put them in this like small ass place. It's not like discrimination or anything, but it's like their space for the natives, and then they have like their own. Okay, like your apartment flooded, and now you're like stuck here, and you barely have like any space for 3 people. So that was also part of it. And yeah, so they're connected through this elevator, but in a way they're like super secluded from everything, which also helps in the story. So they don't necessarily realize what's going on. Even when he goes like, "Oh, I realized that the fireworks are actually like screams from really far away." So yeah.
Yeah, I think if anything, that probably would be another thing too, is that you'd want to explain in more detail how separated they are, because I don't think it gets that much of a vibe across in the story. It felt more like they were essentially like almost like on top of where everyone else was because of their achievement, rather than sort of being isolated.
Okay, so I have to fix that then. Yeah.
But I also say, like, design wise, this is pretty spiffy. Like, I love the vibe of it, as well as someone who is a sucker for lighthouses as well. I'd say you did a good job there.
Thank you.
Of course, my friend.
Yeah.
I love lighthouses too, to be fair.
Yeah, they're generally pretty to look at once you get them right, and this is a well done lighthouse.
As well as they just generally like they have like a sense of like warmness to them, but then they also are like
it's that warm mystery. Horror. That's why something like the foghorn works.
Exactly, yeah. But without further ado, the final flash fiction for the day, it is Denizen by the Vic who is crispy, the extra crispy Vic. So, the night was eerily quiet, save for the harsh winds that crashed through the woods with thunderous crackling. The breaks in silence would take me out of my trance and turn my attention to the house's front porch, where my father stood watch. With a vigilant gaze, he monitored the field where the livestock roamed. For the past week, we've been plagued by strange oddities and ominous sounds coming from the woods. Our father has been pushed to the brink with the sudden mutilation of our cattle. With a careful pace, I walked up to my father and called to him. "Anything yet?" "Nothing so far, son." He continued to scan the tree line past the fence. "That darn beast is bound to come any time now. Don't you think the police should handle this? At least let me make a few calls so we can..." "You think they can handle something like this? If they even believe us, for that matter. Those idiots don't know the first thing about hunting in these woods." My father was renowned for his hunting skills. Our living room alone was adorned with his many trophies from countless hunts. He was too prideful and stubborn to let someone else handle his problems. "So you're just going to gun this thing down as soon as it crosses the fence?" I said as I stood next to him and looked through my binoculars. It's probably just a problem bear, or I've hunted these woods since the day I could walk, and I've never heard a more devilish cry. Whatever it is, ain't no darn animal. I knew better than to question his judgment outright. Even I had no clue as to what animal that cry could come from. Such an odd and haunting sound that any hunter would shiver after listening to it. But before I could even remind myself of it, its shrieking echoes pierced through the tree line and into our ears like a banshee. The reverberations followed through my body like a shockwave. It's here, my father shouted, grabbing his double-barreled rifle. That monster's here, boy. The cry was like the wailing of a baby combined with the howl of a coyote, an unholy shriek. Through the binoculars, I could see the trees shaking just behind the fence at the edge of the field. Something big was back there, watching us. I think I see it, Pops, just past the fence. I point to where I saw the movement. Something's there, I tell you. All right, son. He grabbed his flashlight and hopped off the porch. Let's go get this SOB. With my rifle in hand, I followed my father to the area where I had spotted the movement. Rush of adrenaline filled my veins as we drew closer to the woods, farther from the sanctuary of our home. As the light of my father's flashlight hit the tree line, a tremendous sound erupted just behind the brush. It's like a quick tremor, followed by the crashing of snapping trees. What a beast, my father muttered. He turned and looked at me. Boy, no return, son. I'm gonna need your help. I took in a deep breath and gripped my rifle tightly. Just another night in the woods, old man. Without haste, we chased after the beast, following its path of destruction. Snapped branches 9 feet off the ground, smashed logs with nothing but wood chips left, turned up footprints about 15 inches long, all leading us toward the forest after this monstrous creature. My father took point, carefully holding a shotgun ahead of him. The woods were so quiet, all I could hear were our ragged breaths as we tracked through the thick foliage. But every now and again, I could hear the crashing of the creature as it pushed through ahead of us. We were on its tail and closing in. Suddenly, my father stopped, holding his arm back and catching me. What's the matter? I asked. Something ain't right. He aimed his gun in front of him, slowly scanning. Watch my six. This thing's watching us. I followed his instructions and looked out behind us. I just heard this thing breaking through the woods like a bulldozer. How could it have gotten behind us? As I asked myself, I heard the loud snap of a tree branch ahead of me. I stood in disbelief at the stealth of this animal. It had circled in such little time and with no sign of its movements. The hell is this thing? I asked with a quiver and shake in my voice. Darn thing got behind us? Again, there was another snap at our side, then another back in front of my father. It was taunting us and getting closer. Stay calm, son, my father said as he stood tall with his heels dug into the ground, waiting patiently. He steadied his gun and aimed. I got this son of a... From the brush, a large shape lunged at us with deadly speed. I barely had to turn before my father fired off a shot. The sound popped into my ears and I stumbled back. I looked ahead of me to see the large shape hit the ground and with a loud thud. My father kept its aim at the creature, slowly inspecting it to make sure it was down. Oh God, my father said, lowering his rifle and pointed his flashlight at it. Quick, shine your light on it. I shone the flashlight upon the animal and realized why my father suddenly panicked. The animal had a human shape to it. It was tall and lanky, yet muscular with arms, legs, and a body the size of tree trunks. For a moment, I thought it was a man, but it was plain to see it was not. Is this some sort of monkey? I asked nervously, like a gorilla or something? Dude arm big. Saw him in zoos, and this ain't no gorilla. My father lifted his body as best he could, only managing to turn on its side. Hold on a minute. Something ain't right. What is it? Its body's all wrong. What are you on about, old man? Its head's too big. Bigger than it should be for its body. Look at my eyes. I looked closer and saw he was right. The proportions of the creature were odd, like those of an infant. My father shot up and grabbed my arm. This ain't good. Without warning, my ears erupted from the roaring sound of a gargantuan beast, a cry like that of a man combined with the growl of a lion. The floor quaked beneath our feet as mighty stomps brought us to our knees. One by one, the trees fell to the ground and a looming shadow engulfed us. We looked up to see a large human shape covered in mountains of hair and muscle. Its head stood tall in the canopy, staring down at us, gazing over to the corpse next to us. It knelt down and gently nudged its child, and with an enormous hand, no life could be detected. With a ferocious scowl, it cried an ungodly roar, raising its fist ready to strike. We quickly rose to our feet and ran off. As its first fist smashed into the forest floor, its shockwaves sent us flying into the foliage. I lost sight of my father, my vision impaired by the dirt and dust in the air. I tried calling out to him, but it was drowned by the roars of the parent beast. I crawled my way to a stump, grasping at its edges to help myself up. At that moment, I could feel the glare of the beast's gaze locked in on me. I nervously turned to meet its fiery eyes glowing like volcanic lava, ready to meet my fate. I shut my eyes and prayed. Then I heard the sounds of my father's shotgun. I looked over to see that he had just fired at the giant. It did little but draw his attention away from me. Go now, son. Dad. The beast knew it was he who slew his child. It clenched its robust fist and raised it high above the trees. I cried out to him, begged him to run. He just stood there, reloaded his rifle, and took aim. As the monster brought down its fist towards the earth below, my father fired one last shot. All I could witness was the plume of dust bursting upon impact. I lay there helpless as the beast looked at me again. It wasn't a look of anger. However, I could see that, like me, it shed tears of sadness for a moment. We just stood there, watching each other. Eventually, it wandered off with a quiet elegance, the true denizen of the forest. That was a darn tootin' good story there.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you kindly. Boy.
Yeah, no, that was actually pretty solid.
The one thing I
like
would
the,
say...
the only things.
A
Oh, yeah,
strong note
you
to
go
end
first.
on. I just said a strong note to end on, and I like. I don't know, just it's because I've just kind of lived in the sort of setting that you're talking about. The image in my head is very like vivid.
Like
If
it's
that
very
makes
strong.
sense. Yeah, especially since I've lived in places very much like what you're talking about.
I would say like the only bit of criticism I could levy, besides from the fact that the story is really well put together, is you could phonetically combine a lot of the words that are being said if you wanted to make the accents sound really strong, and that frees up a lot of your word count. Because there are certain cases where they talk kind of more on the elegant side, and then other cases they talk a little bit more closer to like they live in the South. So that's just something to consider.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One thing I would say is, for example, the repetition of beast sometimes was a little bit well. Now I'm being redundant, a little bit repetitive. I feel like you need to mix it up a little bit more. You know, like depending on the type of creature that you have, you can do like many different things. So yeah, it was just like a little bit near the end where beast was used like almost 3 times in a row. Then there was like a creature in between the last two, so it wasn't like that excessive or anything. And then some redundancies, like for example, volcanic lava. You know, like that if you skip those, for example, or you just say lava or glowing. I mean, I don't know if glowing lava is necessarily like redundant because sometimes it like gets like dark, but I guess that it's always glowing. Like if you like give those like a second hand or like a
Another
rewrite.
Passover. Yeah.
Yeah, you can reduce the words,
Or like
but it's nothing that was like bad or anything. It's just like little details.
like one thing you could say, since they don't know necessarily that's like a creature and animal, you could have them like, since it's from the South and you say like you spell idiots as idiots, you could say like haint, which is like a type of like spirit or ghoul or something like that. So like definitely diversifying the descriptors could work, because then you're pulling for both creature, monster, and then like sort of like ghoul, demon, etc.
Yeah, because I think specifically like idiots is something, a different way of saying
That's
idiots. So, like he's referring to like the cops
yeah,
or
it's a
something.
southern thing too. Like
Yeah.
you idiot. It's just
Yeah, and I also sent you
happens.
an art piece for it, Zim. If you want to
Yeah.
pull that up.
There we go. 1 second. Bada bing, bada boom. Let me just zoom out there real quick.
Yeah, because this story is one that I've had in the back of my mind for a while. Just because I thought, like, the simple thought was, like, what if Bigfoot, as we know it, is just like a baby kaiju?
Mm.
And then with like inspirations from like the gargantuas, things like that.
Yeah,
And so I just thought it's a cool thing that I don't really see too much.
I think in this case too, if he's someone who's like hunted the woods before, you could actually make the twist more more profound by having him think it's like a Bigfoot already, like it's a Squatch, and being under the impression that you're fighting Bigfoot, and then when you finally kill it, you realize, oh, we should kill a baby like a baby instead of like actual like the real creature itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's squatching time.
He just squatched all
They-
over me.
They do say that. I remember one of these, because History Channel is so historic, and you have like these guys who were like all Bill Heelys or something like that,
Hillbillies.
and they were like, yeah, that, and they were like, we have to go squatching, guys. And
I
one,
think
Oh,
there's a
mountain
Squatch
monsters.
in these woods.
yeah,
I love that show.
One,
Mountain
one thing you
Monsters.
could do, if it's going to be like bigger, I think is take maybe a little bit from Behemoth. You know when with how their fur kind of grows like the moss, because that
Oh
will
yeah.
also explain how they're able to. You don't need to make it as excessive if you don't want to, but that's one thing that you could do that explains how they get so sneaky, right?
Mhm.
Or maybe you could even, like depending on how intelligent you want them to be, you could show that they maybe use plants to, like, I don't know, like clothing or of sorts. Like, who knows? Maybe like things to protect themselves from like rain or stuff like that. Who knows? There's some things you can do, but yeah,
Yeah.
if you're going to make him bigger, you do have to think of, okay, so how does this guy like hide from society?
Mm-hmm. Or like the fact, like just the idea that like, however they're standing and stuff like that, they'll just kind of like rest in places or like dig their like more noticeable monkey bits, which sounds dirty when I
Yeah.
say it, into the ground, and they'll just sort of like rest for like long periods, and that's where the moss grows, and then
Mhm.
you'll see them move. So like the idea of like moving mountains and things like that.
Kind of like
Yeah.
trolls
Yeah, like
in a
trolls.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that'd be something interesting.
Definitely.
But I also like, just even design wise, I like the monkey face, but I also like kind of like the mane here around is like a good touch.
Yeah, it looks kind of like Hannah Montana's dad. What's his name? It reminded me of that actor, like the type of hairstyle he has, like a rocker or something like that. It looks
Yeah.
nice. It looks
Robbie
because,
Stewart.
like, is that Hannah Montana's
Oh
dad?
yes. Now I see what you mean.
no, now I see it.
I
Now
have
I
to no longer
see
unsee
it. Now
it.
wait, I'm trying to remember. Didn't that guy die?
Is he dead?
No, they
thought
just
I
had a
thought he passed
20-year
away last year.
reunion for Hannah Montana this year.
I'm thinking of someone else then.
Yeah.
I was thinking
I
of
was more
another
so
like Disney
inspired by
Channel
like
actor who was like that character archetype. I'm thinking of like another Disney Channel actor.
Probably, yeah. Because I'm like, because Billy Ray Cyrus is definitely still alive.
Yeah.
However, in that, Sky Jackson is nowhere to be seen,
I'm dead.
which is
I
what
was
she
more so
deserves.
inspired by Super
Frankly-
Saiyan 4 transformation
Oh,
for
now
that main
I
like
can see
look.
that as well. Yeah.
Which
Were you
is the
thinking of, like,
best super
Daimas?
form.
Were you thinking of like Daimas? Because I can see like the arms were like a little bit bigger towards the front, like
More
Daimas
so
had
just like the hairstyle like in the mane that you pointed out.
Okay,
That sort of
got you.
part.
Which, I mean, hey, Super Saiyan 4 is the best one.
Yes.
Hmm.
Specifically, classic Super Saiyan 4. I just think that
Yeah.
version just
Chi-Chi.
looks better than Daima's.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to like really get started on Daima.
I don't think it's worth it. But that's just me. I'm just like, whenever I see, I'm like,
I'm like waiting to really get started on my Dragon Ball binge because I've like had bits and pieces of it here and there, but I want to really sit down and watch it now that Super Beerus is in it.
yeah, fair enough on that.
So like
But
start with because I know there was also that massive edit of like Z that like color corrected everything.
we'd have to ask Black on that because he'd probably know better than me when it comes
Well,
to that.
I found it online. I think I have that tweet state bookmarked. So yeah,
That's fair enough.
because like that would be how I want to watch it as well. Start with OG.
There you go.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
really
any
like
other-
this. I really like the way you sold the setting.
Again?
And, I don't know what to say. It just works, especially it works especially on me.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
I never
I'd say,
really
like, I agree with that.
I never really went hunting, but being out there in the woods late at night, I once or twice, and it's like, sure, I know what it is now, but back then you would just hear something, and like your first thought is, what the hell was that?
No, I remember
Yeah.
one time, even though I kind of knew they were in the area, and like I live pretty suburby, there was one time where there was like I had heard something, and I was like, "What is that?" And then I was like, "There's no way we've got coyotes anywhere near here." And then as I'm like pulling up to my house, I see something skitter across like the driveway into like another neighbor's like driveway, and I realized, oh, there were actually coyotes, and they were close.
I've also lived in like suburbs kind of all my life, and I remember one time when I was driving home from work late at night, and this happened multiple times. I saw this massive like herd of deer that were by an elementary school just grazing in its front yard.
Oh,
And
I
I, like,
had deer in my
stopped.
front yard once too. It was weird.
Yeah, but like I was stopping, and then they all just like stop, and they're just staring at me in my car. And this was like at 1 in the morning or something, and it was weird. And then I remember one other night I drove by and I saw a coyote skitter across the road, which was the first time I'd ever seen a coyote. And then earlier, I think last month, this was in Port. They got bears here, and when I was on my way to dinner with my granddad, we just literally just watched a black bear run across the street. Probably like a young adult male.
Mm.
Was he getting chased by cops or something?
No, probably was just raiding trash cans. Because that happens a lot in my area. If you leave like your dumpster out with food in it, especially, the bears will get it.
Yeah.
And you do not want to be in. God help you if you find a mama with cubs.
Oh yeah. But anything else we want to add to Vic's story before we wrap it up?
No, this is a pretty well done story generally. I think all of these are really good. All of them definitely show some level of improvement. Even I mean, well, you Zim have been writing a lot, but like generally there's still some level of change and growth from where we used to be. And I think that's quite apparent, which I'm excited to see how this goes for the next one.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Mhm.
And I do not have a.
You said the next one was probably going to be a Godzilla specific one?
I'm still mulling it over. I think we're gonna do it at the end of the month, or maybe like it may be a Sunday. We'll see what happens. But yeah, everyone, if you are interested, definitely start getting to writing now. Check the video if you guys haven't, just so you kind of know the parameters of how these stories in these streams usually work. But yeah. Anything else to add, or if anything, I'd suggest we can get to Shillings and we can have Kuru go first, since obviously he's got the most going on his end.
Someone else go. I'm occupied at the moment.
Mm.
Davik.
All right. So, you can always find me here on YouTube as Kaijunaut. I do my own streams and videos. I put out a few new Kaijunaut collector logs. Picked up a few new things. And then for streams, I'm still thinking of planning maybe later next week doing a stream discussing all the news about the Patterson Gimlin film, since it may have been proven to be a hoax. We shall see. Other than that, I go by Crispy Vic and Vic Monstrous on my socials. Got commissions open, and check out my art there as well. That's about it for me. Other than the recommendation of watching, I would say. Oh wait, I did recently watch They Will Kill You. I recommend that if you want to go check it out in theaters. Fun movie.
Okay. Looks like just in time to wrap that up. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter under the same name, Kaiju Peru. I'm actually in the process of doing recordings for two videos, actually. One talking about Monster Hunter Monster God Mazios and why I think it is one of the best kaiju ever in gaming, and also a video which is just going to be an unscripted video about me giving my thoughts unfiltered about Minus Zero and Supernova and kind of what I want to see, what I'm expecting to see, and a bit of a PSA to the Godzilla fandom.
Mhm.
And as far as recommendations from me, go watch Uma Musume. Like, full big drop. Like, I get the joke, haha, funny horse joke, but like, seriously.
No, I second that. We finished watching Pretty Derby, and like, it is good. It is actually well done. So, yeah.
And that's all from me. Drink some water, hug your mother, have a good night.
There we go. And Lau, anything to add for you?
No, I literally I'm moving in like 4 days. I don't even know when I'm coming back. The only recommendation is an anti-recommendation. Don't waste your time with Chainsaw Man Part 2. It ends at Part 1. Literally, just save your money. The author is a son of a bitch. Not in a good way. No, like he literally ruined the story on purpose.
I've heard
So
all of that. I'm curious to see like what happened for like such a big.
look, I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm going to give you the trope used. It's all a dream.
No, no,
Retroactively ruined
no.
the whole thing.
No, wait. What? Oh,
Why?
I do
Yeah.
like the ending panel though.
no. Aw. Minecraft Go. Now I'm sad.
You can find me on YouTube, Minecraft World 1954. That's my @ or just Minecraft World. I have stuff in the pipeline. I might do a Gigabash AMV at some point now that the final Horizon DLC is out, or Final Ascension DLC is out. I haven't really been doing much essay work. I've mostly just been focusing on school and writing my book, Light in the Black Lake, but I do have essays in the works. And I am, and I do artworks. I do other things on Instagram and Kara, and I post stuff on Blue Sky every now and then. And go read the Mothra comic. That's actually something worthwhile. That's actually something worthwhile instead of Chainsaw Man. And go watch Uma Musume. I'm being dead serious when I say I second Kuru's point. It is genuinely well done. And go read Gayatima, especially you, Rooney. But yeah, take care, fellas. Peace.
Side note, you think your
What if
Chainsaw Man is one of my
was
favorite
just a
stories
dream?
ever written?
Yeah, no, like that sucks. But
I fucking
yeah,
hate that trope.
you guys could find me at pretty much Zimzilla99 almost anywhere. Shout an OG in
Is
front
all
of
of
it
Zimcast
for
a dream?
Twitter. No,
No.
no.
No. No.
OG for Twitter. Those are my numbers for my disc for to find my Discord. A YT behind my name for PlayStation, although I'm pretty much Zimzilla9 and almost anywhere else. If you're interested, I do have a Patreon, which any support there is greatly appreciated, especially when it comes to stuff in regards to my book, Kaiju Quarantine, which I am still working on some chapters and some stuff to get done there soon. So that should be coming out in just a little bit. Thank you all for watching. Keep writing. Hopefully, the stream will give you some ideas in terms of your own journey.
Oh, I forgot to
And,
show.
yeah.
I forgot a few other things to show. Uma Musume discussion on the 29th. Raiga and Gulala on the 5th and 4th as well. Sorry about that.
You're good.
I completely forgot about the live streams.
There you go. Hey, that ends it off, guys. As always, have a good Zimzilla. Seeing you guys next time.